As y'all can see, we're gonna be starting the books of Enoch. It's not actually just one book. It's
As y'all can see, we're gonna
multiple
be
books.
starting the books of Enoch. It's not actually just one book. As y'all can see.
My bad on that. All right, so yeah, this is another book of the Bible, but these books were removed. So it has a lot talking about angels, like the start of evil and stuff like that. Just a lot of things that's I would love had it been in the original, but who knows why this is it was took out. So we're gonna actually gonna figure that out while we listen to the books and Enoch. We're gonna come to our own conclusion. We ain't gonna figure we pretty sure we won't get the exact answer why these books, but I'm sure as we listening to the books, something will let us know like why these mugs didn't make the final cut of the King James version at least. So if you're new to the live, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Really appreciate it. Uh, this is a total of 17 hours and 31 minutes. So of course we're not gonna finish it tonight. We could do another one of those 20 of those marathons, but I don't think we're gonna do it tonight. Starting with this, but we're gonna do another one of those soon. Can't say when, can't say which book, but hey, it really don't matter. But let's get this book started. Hope you guys enjoy. Once again, these is the books of Enoch. How many books is in the books of Enoch actually? One, two, three. I think it's four books in this. So um,
The angels, the watchers, and the Nephilim, with extensive commentary on the three books of Enoch, the fallen angels, the calendar of Enoch, and Daniel's prophecy. Second edition, a volume containing the first book of Enoch, the Ethiopic book of Enoch, the second book of Enoch, the Slavonic secrets of Enoch, the third book of Enoch, the Hebrew book of Enoch, the book of fallen angels, the watchers, and the origins of evil, with expanded commentary on Enoch, angels, prophecies, and calendars in the sacred texts.
probably why this
Written by Dr. Joseph B. Lumpkin, narrated by Dennis Logan. Introduction. Our search for deeper understanding often leads beyond the Bible itself. Even in our attempt to fully understand the Bible, we must go beyond the book. As we encounter references to social conditions, cultural practices, and even other writings mentioned within the scriptures, we are called to investigate and expand our knowledge in order to fully appreciate the context, knowledge base, and cultural significance of what is being taught. Thus, to fully understand the Bible, we are necessarily drawn to sources outside the Bible. These sources add to the historical, social, or
to fully understand the Bible, he had to go to sources outside of it. So the Bible doesn't hold all the information you need to be successful in life. As you can see, they took a lot of those books out, and I'm not even for sure how many books is missing from the Bible. So I just know the books of Enoch is just like one set, but it's multiple books that's been missing. So I would like to get a full understanding of like just why these books are missing and what's in those books. So, like I said, it's gonna be extra longer because of the commentary that comes with this book. I'm out on YouTube listening to this book. I actually bought this on Audible, so we're gonna try to get through it. Hopefully, there ain't nobody talking about stuff that it ain't important, because I can do the commentary myself, honestly. So, all right.
Logical understanding of biblical times. As our view becomes more macrocosmic, we see the panoramic setting and further understand the full truth within the scriptures. Yet, in the case of Enoch, we are not going beyond the Bible. We are simply going beyond our Bible. The Book of Enoch is contained in the Bible of the Ethiopic Christian Church. popular texts among early Christians. To lead us to sources of information outside of our Protestant and Catholic Bibles, we must know which books were popular and important at the time the Bible was being written. There are several books mentioned in the Bible which are not included in our Bible. They are not spiritual canon, either because they were not available at the time the canon was originally adopted, or at the time they were not considered inspired. In cases when inspiration was questioned, one could argue that any book quoted or mentioned by a prophet or an apostle should be considered as spiritual canon. Unfortunately, this position would prove too simplistic. Books and writings can fall under various categories, such as civil records and laws, historical documents, or spiritual writings. A city or state census is not inspired, but it could add insight into certain areas of life. Spiritual writings, which are directly quoted in the Bible, serve as insights into the beliefs of the writer, or what was considered acceptable by society at the time. As with any new discovery, invention, or belief, the new is interpreted based upon the structure of what came before. This was the way in the first century Christian church.
Like, so once again, like, the people who wrote the Bible, it wasn't because God told them to read it. It was based off their own beliefs and, like, the history that came before them. So, I don't know where people are like, yeah, this is, God wrote this Bible. He didn't. It was a man who had their own set of beliefs. And none of them was, like, religious. But somehow it became a religion after all those years, so.
As beliefs were based upon the old Jewish understanding, although one should realize pagan beliefs were also added to the church as non-Jewish populations were converted, bringing with them the foundations of their beliefs on which they interpreted Christianity. In the case of Jude, James, Paul, and others, the Jewish past was giving way to the Christian present, but their understanding and doctrine were still being influenced by what they had learned and experienced previously. It becomes obvious that to understand the Bible, one should endeavor to investigate the books and doctrines that most influenced the writers of the Bible. The Dead Sea Scrolls, found in the caves of Qumran, are of great interest in the venture of clarifying the history and doctrine in existence between biblical times and the fixing of canon. The scrolls were penned in the 2nd century BC and were in use at least until the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 AD. Similar scrolls to those found in Cave 4 within the 11 caves of Qumran were also found at the Masada stronghold, which fell in 73 AD. Fragments of every book of the Old Testament, except Esther, were found in the caves of Qumran, but so were many other books. Some of these books are considered to have been of equal importance and influence to the people of Qumran and to the writers and scholars of the time. Some of those studying the scrolls found in Qumran were the writers of the New Testament. Knowing this, one might ask which of the dozens of non-canonical books most influenced the writers of the New Testament. It is possible to ascertain the existence of certain influences within the Bible context by using the Bible itself. The Bible can direct us to other works in 3 ways. The work can be mentioned by name, as is the Book of Jasher. The work can be quoted within the Bible text, as is the case with the Book of Enoch. The existence of the work can be alluded to, as is the case of the missing letter from the Apostle Paul to the Corinthians. Books mentioned in the Holy Bible. In the case of those books named in the Bible, one can set a list as the titles are named. The list is lengthier than one might at first suspect. Most of these works have not been found. Some have been unearthed, but their authenticity is questioned. Others have been found, and the link between scripture and scroll is generally accepted. Following is a list of books mentioned in the Holy Bible. The Book of Jasher. There are two references to the book in the Old Testament. 2 Samuel 1:18. Also he bade them teach the children of Judah the use of the bow. Behold, it is written in the book of Jasher. Joshua 10:13. Is it not written in the book of Jasher? And the sun stopped in the middle of the sky and did not hasten to go down for about a whole day. There are several books which have come to us entitled Book of Jasher. One is an ethical treatise from the Middle Ages. It begins with a section on the mystery of the creation of the world. It is clearly unrelated to the biblical Book of Jasher. Another was published in 1829,
Never heard of that.
supposedly translated by Flaccus Albinus Alcuinus. It opens with the chapter 1, verse 1, reading, While it was the beginning, darkness overspread the face of nature. It is now considered a fake. The third and most important is by Midrash, first translated into English in 1840. It opens with chapter 1, verse 1, reading, And God said, Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And God created man in his own image.
What? Let us
A comparison
make
of
man
Joshua
in our
10:30.
image. Like, who is our? Who is God talking about when he said in our image? Like me? Well, I already know. Because, like I said, anybody who came here before, we know the God of the Bible, the Christian Bible, is not the only God there is. He's stated it multiple times in the Bible. So, when he say, let us make them in our image, he's referring to, like, more than one person. Or more than one being, entity.
13 with Jasher 88:63-64, and 2 Samuel 1:18 with Jasher 56:9 makes it clear that this book of Jasher at least follows close enough with the Bible to be the book of Jasher mentioned in the Bible. Other books mentioned by name in the Bible are the Book of Wars of the Lord. Therefore it is said in the Book of the Wars of the Lord, Numbers 21:14. The Annals of Jehu. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat, first to last, behold, they are written in the Annals of Jehu, the son of Hanani, which is recorded in the book of the kings of Israel. 2 Chronicles 20:34. The treatise of the book of the kings. As to his sons and the many oracles against him, and the rebuilding of the house of God, behold, they are written in the treatise of the book of the kings. Then Amaziah, his son, became king in his place. 2 Chronicles 24:27. The Book of Records, Book of the Chronicles of Ahasuerus. Now when the plot was investigated and found to be so, they were both hanged on a gallows, and it was written in the book of the Chronicles in the king's presence. During that night the king could not sleep, so he gave an order to bring the book of records, the Chronicles, and they were read before the king. Esther 2:23, 6:1. The Acts of Solomon. Now the rest of the acts of Solomon and whatever he did and his wisdom, are they not written in the book of the Acts of Solomon? 1 Kings 11:41. The sayings of Hosea. His prayer also, and how God was entreated by him, and all his sin, his unfaithfulness, and the sites on which he built high places and erected the Asherim and the carved images. Before he humbled himself, behold, they are written in the records of the Hosea. 2 Chronicles 33:19. The Chronicles of David. Job, the son of Zeruiah, had begun to count them, but did not finish, and because of this, wrath came upon Israel, and the number was not included in the account of the Chronicles of King David. 1 Chronicles 27:24. The Chronicles of Samuel, Nathan, Gad. Now the acts of King David, from first to last, are written in the Chronicles of Samuel the seer, in the Chronicles of Nathan the prophet, and in the Chronicles of Gad the seer. 1 Chronicles 29:29. Samuel's book. Then Samuel told the people the ordinances of the kingdom and wrote them in the book and placed it before the Lord. 1 Samuel 10:25. The prophecy of Ahijah the Shilonite. Now the rest of the acts of Solomon, from first to last, are they not written in the records of Nathan the prophet, and in the prophecy of Ahijah the Shilonite, and in the visions of Iddo, the seer concerning Jeroboam, the son of Nebat? 2 Chronicles 9:29. The treatise of the prophet Iddo. Now the rest of the acts of Abijah, and his ways and his words, are written in the treatise of the prophet Iddo. 2 Chronicles 13:22. Missing epistles. The existence of a book can be inferred as well. This is clearly seen with several missing epistles. Paul's letter to the church at Laodicea. When this letter is read among you,
Why is there
have
so
it
many
also
missing
read in the
books
church of the
in the
Laodiceans.
Bible?
And you, for your part, read my letter that is coming from Laodicea. Colossians 4:16. Since 3 earlier manuscripts do not contain the words at Ephesus, in Ephesians 1:1, some have speculated that the letter coming from Laodicea was in fact the letter of Ephesians. Apostolic fathers also debated this possibility. In Paul's first letter to Corinth, he predated that letter by saying, I wrote you in my letter not to associate with immoral people. 1 Corinthians 5:9. This could merely be a reference to the present letter of 1 Corinthians. Book of Enoch may be most influential. Of all the books quoted, paraphrased, or referred to in the Bible, the Book of Enoch has influenced the writers of the Bible as few others have, even more extensively than in the Old Testament. The writers of the New Testament were frequently influenced by other writings, including the Book of Enoch. It is not the purpose of this work to make judgments as to the validity or worth of the Book of Enoch, but rather to simply put forth a meaningful question. Is not the non-canonical book that most influenced the thought and theology of the writers of the New Testament worth further research and contemplation? Before we continue in our study of the Book of Enoch, there are several questions we must keep in mind. If a book is mentioned or quoted in the Bible, is it not worthy of further study? If it is worth investigating, is this the book of which the Bible speaks? What knowledge or insight does it add to our understanding of the Bible or the men who wrote it? The Book of Enoch was once cherished by Jews and Christians alike. It is read in certain Coptic Christian churches in Ethiopia. 3 versions of the Book of Enoch exist today. Book of Enoch, discovering it, dating it. Most scholars date the Book of Enoch, also called 1 Enoch, to sometime during the 2nd century BC. We do not know what earlier oral tradition, if any, the book contains. Enoch was considered inspired and authentic by certain Jewish sects of the 1st century BC, and remained popular for at least 500 years. The earliest Ethiopian text was apparently derived from a Greek manuscript of the Book of Enoch, which itself was a copy of an earlier text. The original was apparently written in the Semitic language, now thought to be Aramaic. The Book of Enoch, 1 Enoch, was discovered in the 18th century. It was assumed to have been penned after the beginning of the Christian era. This theory was based on the fact that it had quotes and paraphrases, as well as concepts found in the New Testament. Thus, it was assumed that it was heavily influenced by writers such as Jude and Peter. However, recent discoveries of copies of the book among the Dead Sea Scrolls found at Qumran prove the book was in existence before the time of Jesus Christ. These scrolls forced a closer look and reconsideration. It became obvious that the New Testament did not influence the Book of Enoch. On the contrary, the Book of Enoch influenced the New Testament. The date of the original writing upon which the 2nd century BC Qumran copies were based is shrouded in obscurity. Likewise lost are the sources of the oral tradition that came to be the Book of Enoch. Slowly, over the past 60 years, we have unraveled some of the mystery. Inspired, authentic, or fake? It has been largely the opinion of historians that the book does not really contain the authentic words of the ancient Enoch, since he would have lived several thousand years earlier than the first known appearance of the book attributed to him. However, the first century Christians accepted the Book of Enoch as inspired, if not authentic. They relied on it to understand the origin and purpose of many things, from angels to wind, sun, and stars. In fact, many of the key concepts used by Jesus Christ himself seem directly connected to terms and ideas in the Book of Enoch. The theories regarding the authenticity of Enoch vary widely. Some believe Enoch is Midrash. That is an elaboration on a biblical story. In this case, it is suggested that Enoch expands Genesis chapter 6. Parallels between Enoch and the Holy Scriptures. Another, more controversial theory has Enoch predating the Genesis story. Like the Book of Enoch, Genesis seems to have several authors.
The Book of Enoch seems to, it's supposed to be in the Bible, but it seemed like it should have been the first book if it predates Genesis. So that must contradict the Book of Enoch. The Books of Enoch must contradict what's in the King James Version or the books we read today, because that's the only reason it's not in there. Like, some shit ain't adding up. Like, so they had to remove what didn't fit with whoever published the book. It didn't fit their agenda. So, as you know, when things don't fit a person's agenda, they cut it out.
With stories intertwined. One of these authors is known simply as P, owing to the fact he was thought to be a priest. If we compare the P contribution of Genesis to the Book of Enoch, parallels leap out. Enoch, corrupt earth. P, humans were corrupt on the earth. Genesis 6. Enoch, eating animals. P, eating animals. Genesis 9. Enoch, bloodshed. P, bloodshed. Genesis 9. Enoch, 364-day year. P, 30-day months, 360-day year. Genesis 7. Enoch, 12 months times 30 plus 4. P, 365-day year. Genesis 5. Enoch. Enoch goes to heaven. P, Enoch goes to heaven. Genesis 5. There are other connections.
So it's
the name Azazel appears in Leviticus.
Even if that's the case, like, from my perspective, the Bible is supposed to be the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So good, bad, it should be within the Bible. So I'm a person who I want to know why, like, why the angels were falling. I want to know the real reason. Like, I mean, who says the real reason? Because all the books are all based off someone else's beliefs. So usually with a belief, those beliefs is handed down to that person. Like, no one really forms their own beliefs, especially when they're born in this world. And, like, did you get a chance to choose your own religion? Nah, your parents didn't either. Like, so, and if you black, your ancestors damn sure didn't get to choose their religion. So they need to, like, but I want to read more about, like, falling in. That should have been in the original Bible, like, for me, because I'm interested in things like that. Like, I want to know, like, why the Bible have so many holes in it, and of course it's probably because they got so many missing books within it. So I'm, like I said, I'm not a Christian. I'm not a religious person. I'm just a person who loves information, loves to read. So see, that's one thing I don't believe in. I don't believe in hell. So I ain't gonna say that's one thing, but that's the thing I don't believe. I don't believe in a burning fire. I don't care what a book says, what a person says, what they believe says, because I've been reincarnated a few times. So if hell was real, the times where my life where I was a fucking evil ass person, I should have never reincarnated. I should have been still stuck in hell. But the fact that I keep coming back here lets me know there is no hell. And once again, that should have been in the Bible. Like he wanted to specifically. That's what you're supposed to do. Like when you write a book, you're supposed to go into the specifics and the details. I mean, ain't that what Revelations is for? Like that was pretty detailed. So, well, we gonna get into it. Like, so I never really read the whole book of Enoch myself. This is my first time doing it, so I plan on learning stuff. So, hey, you seem like you already read the book of Enoch. You can teach me something.
The scapegoat is sent into the wilderness to Azazel, and through the ceremony of laying on of hand by the priest and people, the goat is sent away, bearing the sins of the people. This reference only makes sense if the writer believed that Azazel was responsible for all human sins and would bear the punishment for it, as the Book of Enoch declares. In Genesis, it is Cain that bears sins into the wilderness. However, he will see that there are connections between the fallen angels and the descendant of Cain.
So tell
The
me
problem with
this.
such a connection.
Cain was the first person to sin on earth, is what they just said, right? Well, let me know if I'm right. If Cain was the first sinner, or the first person who did sin, then why did God kick Adam and Eve out the Garden of Eden? Was that not considered a sin of them eating from the tree? Because he told them not to. Like, so, was that not considered the first sin in the Bible? Right now it's saying Cain. And the angels had something to do with it. They didn't say nothing about Lucifer or the serpent.
Between Enoch and Genesis is that it does not point to the direction of the transmission. We now can be reasonably sure that Enoch and Genesis are connected, but we cannot be certain which came first. The best evidence we have for the undisputed authenticity of one Enoch is not the connection to Genesis,
Shout out to
but the faith Jesus and the apostles had in the Book of Enoch, demonstrated by various references and quotes. How Jesus and his followers used Enoch. It is hard to avoid the evidence that Jesus not only studied the book, but also respected it highly enough.
Keita. I'm getting deja vu right now. What you talking about? I know this is my first time seeing you in here though. Like, so are you a Hebrew Israelite, or do you consider yourself a Hebrew Israelite? We're all supposed, because I don't believe in that. Like, I'm not a Hebrew Israelite. I don't believe that I'm cursed. I mean, when I used to be a Christian, I used to think I was cursed because my life was always going in the wrong direction. But like once I like gained consciousness and like woke up, it was like ever since then, like my life has been going right. So I don't believe that like that is cursed, like we all curse. Like, cause there's some people whose life is they thriving in life, they happy, they peaceful. Like, so it's all a mindset thing. It's all a mental thing. When people read the Bible and this is their beliefs, their religion, they think it's all true. Then they'll believe they're cursed because that's what the word says. So I don't go out there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I see you have some type of consciousness for the fact that you're in this live. Like, so, and you know read this book already. So I don't take you as a person to believe everything you read. It's like, follow blindly, like, because that's what religious people do. That's what they've been doing in the Bible, just following God blindly. Nobody has ever seen his face. Moses came close to seeing him, but you see what happened to him. Like, his face got fucked up. Like, so God only shows up to certain individuals, and if he got millions of followers, like why he not showing up to everybody? So I got my own relationship with God though. So what I do when I question the Bible, like people would consider that as a sin and you shouldn't do that. But God wants you to question it. Like He wants you to like don't follow blind because you don't know who the fuck you following. Especially when it comes to all these different churches, all these different pastors who have hidden agendas, doing things for lust, money. Like so, they had their visions. Who had their visions, Jerome? Yeah, but Enoch was took away to heaven, right? Like he didn't actually die. He was a like, if I'm not mistaken, I think Enoch, God was just took him right on up there, or at least the angels. Like when I die, or not when I die, but when it's my time to go, that's how I want to go. I want to just disappear off this bitch. That motherfucking spirit team come in front of the world and see that, hey, this shit is real, but I'm really like trying to go out like Enoch. Hey, born again, David, we back in another day. But that's all. What I loved about the Bible are the characters. That's all I'm gonna say. I love my favorite characters are Enoch for how he went out, Jesus for how he stood like conquered this earth, this planet, and didn't succumb to sin and all that shit. King Solomon for like being the wisest man. King David, like just how he was. He slayed fucking Goliath. Like he just had that much. You know why I realized why David was able to slay Goliath at a young age. Because at the time, everybody who knew about Goliath, they had already formed an opinion about him. They was already scared and spooked. So David, he ain't know nothing about it, so he didn't have no fear. Plus, he had already killed a lion and shit. This book is too detailed to be fictional. What, the Book of Enoch or the Bible? Oh, you talk about the different churches. They only can see their own way. Open believers don't need help. Remember Metatron? Is you talking about Metatron from Transformers, the movie? Or you said Metertron? That okay? Like so, me, I don't have no opinion on the Book of Enoch right now. Like I got my opinion on the Bible, or like I formed an opinion off that because I've been reading that my whole life. Even when I woke up, I still kept reading. You know, the angel. Metatron. Yeah. My bad. I'm thinking about the trans. I don't know why that popped up in my head first, but I do know the angel Metatron. I didn't work with him before. Hey, after I smoke this one, you know I'm gonna roll another one, so keep it in rotation. Like I know about Enoch, like that's how I like was able to know like he didn't die and he was took away. Like I just haven't like read it like with a full understanding like of a conscious person, you know. Like and even when I wasn't conscious, like I knew about the Book of Enoch, but I couldn't find it nowhere because I really wasn't looking honestly. So when YouTube came out, then I was able to like find everything that I needed. Like so, even though we ain't on YouTube tonight listening to this book, like I bought the book. Like so, and this is not just one book. This is the Books of Enoch. So this has the first book is the Ethiopic Book of Enoch. The second book, the Slavonic Secrets of Enoch. The third book is the Hebrew Book of Enoch, and then it has the Book of the Fallen Angels, the Watchers, and the originals. I can't see that. The original evils. So this is a whole like set. This is not just no 3 hour book. So I plan on like getting a full understanding. Even though no matter how detailed this book is, no matter how good it is, no matter how deep it is, still won't make me a follower of religion. Like I'm truly like my own God entity that I just come down here to help other people. Like so, my whole thing is just like I love information, I love knowledge, I love wisdom, and I love to spread it. Like I'm like motherfucking Thoth Tahuti, Hermes Trismegistus, whatever you can pronounce his name. But I'm like King Solomon. I love like about wisdom, like righteousness, the truth. That's the only thing I care about, honestly. Sound like somebody knocking on my door. My door is locked. So QOH. Shout out to you for coming through.
To allude to its doctrine and content. Enoch is replete with mentions of the coming kingdom and other holy themes. It was not only Jesus who used phrases or ideas from Enoch. There are over 100 comments in the New Testament which find precedence in the Book of Enoch. As we began looking for connections between the words of or about Jesus and those of Enoch, we cannot look for exact matches. It is possible that what was originally spoken by these men was very close in wording or exact meaning, but after divergent paths of transmission and translations through various languages and cultures, they arrive here in the 21st century with many alterations. Like the child's game of telephone, exact wording has been somewhat altered. Let us look at general ideas within passages.
Yet the Book of Enoch. Yeah,
Jesus,
this is just somebody who's like
blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth.
Like,
Matthew 5:5.
Commentary, so.
Enoch, and all the elect shall rejoice, and there shall be forgiveness of sins, and mercy, and peace, and forbearance, and joy.
I know you wasn't here yesterday, Jerome, but I plan on listening to that as well. I was gonna do the whole entire Bible, like, but I'm like, I'm not a religious person, so I don't want to just be bringing religious people to my channel. Like, not that I got anything against them. It's like if you hear when I like how I discuss the Bible, it's not like I'm not no preacher. I'm gonna say some things that people ain't gonna always agree with. I got my own opinion. I got my own journey in life that led me to believe the beliefs that I have. So a lot of people don't agree with that because some people are closed-minded. So that's why I'm like, just skip it. We're doing the Book of Enoch. We probably gonna do Revelations next. Then I want to do the Gospel of Jesus, of course, like. But I'm not about to just listen to the whole or read the whole Bible. It's too much. The Bible is like a census. It's telling like the history of like families and stuff, like where they was overall. But what I did want to talk about from yesterday about Moses and like how God gave them the 10 Commandments about like thou shalt not steal and thou shalt not kill. I realized he was saying for them to not do that within each other. For the simple fact, at the same time, God said he was planning on taking over everybody else. Like any other guy or any other cultures around, like he was planning on like taking them over. Like, and it was through war, so it had to, like, he didn't care about killing kids, babies, none of that. So when the 10 Commandments came out, it wasn't that you shouldn't kill at all. Is don't do that within yourself. So, but you see a lot of that with black people, not just black people, it's white on white crime too. Shit, and all cultures are is prevalent with killing their own race. Yeah, it's like I'm trying to get rid of my biased opinion. Because like I said, when I grew up as a Christian, woke up at like 28, 27, started talking shit about religious people, then like got enlightened and realized, oh, that wasn't the way. Like now I'm back like listening and reading the Bible to get like my own full understanding and to let go of my biasness, because I realized I was mad at just everybody for the simple fact, not just everybody, but I was mad at like family, mother, grandma, Gigi, for like brainwashing me to believe like, hey, don't ever question the Bible, don't ever like, you don't talk down on the Bible, don't talk down about Jesus, like all of that. So it was like I was rebelling because I knew what they had taught me. Like those was biased beliefs themselves. Like my Gigi's opinions and like her beliefs came from her parents, and her dad was a slave. Like so, who gave them their beliefs? I used to always like that was one of my biggest arguments. I'm like to black people, like I'm like, how is you gonna say Christianity is your religion, but that wasn't their religious before they were took over or before they were captured by Europeans? Like Africans wasn't reading the Bible. Do you? Can you explain that? Do you synergistic means then? Like I don't get that question. But I forgot what I was saying. But like I said, now I'm not against the Bible. I'm not. I'm trying to get rid of the biasness. Like getting my own understanding and taking from it, what I need to take from it, and like just move forward. I don't have to read the Bible every single day. I can read whatever the fuck I want. I can tap into whatever culture I want. If I want to read the fucking book of Satan, I can. Like to learn, like not to say I'm gonna follow this shit, but to why do they believe? Like why you want to follow Satan? Like I want to read. I'm that interested, and most people not gonna get it. Like they're not gonna like. So if you see me reading some shit from Aleister Crowley, people gonna be like, wait, what? Like, but you don't understand. Like that came from Egypt. Like all that kinetic stuff. Like that's black people stuff. People think all that. Hold on. All of it ties together. What they make you think? Oh yeah. Well, I got out of that mindset, but I'm gonna be listening to different stuff on here, and people are gonna be like, "Wait, what? I thought you were just listening to the Bible. I thought you was a Christian." Because they ain't even click on they ain't even never clicked on it, but they seen me listening to the Bible. So when they finally do click on it, it's gonna be some shit that they never expected. They can only see faces of the spirit of the heart. Yeah. Well, I'm kind of confused, Jerome. Let me reread it. Let's read the Bible. It's Codex Shamrock. Don't rise here. Do you signature? What does synergistic mean? Like I ain't gonna not trying to be dumb and then. Hey, shout out to Positive Minds Only. Definitely. Go get that merch. It's on Teesprings. But I'm gonna like just be straight up, not trying to be funny. Jerome, what does synergistic mean? I could research it on the computer, but every time I try to do something that's not included, as soon as I said that, some shit popped up on my computer that was letting me know. Don't go try to research nothing. Your computer's gonna start tripping. So if you don't mind letting us know what synergistic means, then I can like understand. They can only see faces, not the spirit or now, who is we talking to about now? Who can only see faces, not the spirit or heart? Because I know humans is like that, especially Christians, religious people. As
There
you
shall be
tell us what that
salvation
means,
for
I'm gonna
them,
continue to play the book.
like and a good light. Enoch 5:7. Jesus, the Father judgeth no man, but hath committed all judgment unto the Son. John 5:22. Enoch, and he sat on the throne of his glory, and the sum of judgment was given to the Son of Man. Enoch 69:27. Jesus. Now a man came up to Jesus and asked, Teacher, what good thing must I do to get eternal life? Jesus.
Just errors. What you said. When I cut my hair, because I started growing out my hair when I started waking up, right? When I first cut it, like, because before, back when you mentioned old waves, like do-rag waves, I'm trying to get my waves back. That was my old ways. So me coming back full circle, even coming back to the Bible, coming back to the waves, is like, I'm still like, I'm not going back to the old ways, but I'm like, I'm using some of the old, like, I'm still me. Like basically, at the end of the day, I'm still me, but I just got a positive mindset. His perspective. Oh yeah, so definitely that's what I'm on to too. Science, spirituality, and my own understanding. I didn't know it had a name to it. Shout out to Jerome for like putting me on to synergistic, because yeah, that's definitely like basically me down to the T.
Jesus said, and everyone who has left houses or brother, father or mother or children or fields for my sake will receive 100 times as much and will inherit eternal life. Enoch, who is set over the repentance and those who hope to inherit
Yeah,
eternal life.
exactly. I know it was about the
Enoch,
image.
for
I know it was about like I knew exactly what you mean, because I'm telling you, I had that thought. I'm like, because it was in 2019. I'm telling you, on my spiritual journey, I went broke. I started growing in my hair. Like I stopped caring about how I look, like all of that. But my focus was on fixing up me, like fixing me up. So, and growing up in Gary, Indiana, I care about how I dress, care about what type of shoes I got on, care about how I look, care about how I smell. Like so, I always put that first. I always put the outside first. So once I started doing like tapping in, I started not caring about how I look. So now I'm getting back to like still caring about how I look on the outside, but as well caring about how I am on the inside. It's all about balance. Some people only focus on one thing and don't focus on the other. So
49. Jesus, woe unto you that are rich, for ye have received your consolation. Luke 6:24. Enoch, woe to you, you rich, for you have trusted in your riches, and from your riches shall you depart, because you have not remembered the Most High in the days of your riches.
just talking about that.
Enoch 94:8.
I had to like at first I was just worrying about like material shit. So I had to fucking fix myself and say, oh, it's not all about like how I look. That's not that's not it. Been working on the inside, we gotta work on the outside. Exactly, like when you think about it, you have to work on. You have to look good. You got. I see why my brother does what he does as far as wearing jewelry. It's the image. It attracts people. Like so, me when I went through that stage of not caring about how I look, he was like, I ain't about to listen to him. Look what he looked like. Like I ain't trying to follow. I'm not trying to follow a person who looks like a bum. Like so, what happened was J Cole was my favorite rapper, so I kind of went down that path. So I'm like, I woke up out of that shit. Like what the fuck? I ain't about to be acting like this nigga. I care about how I look. Like so, you gonna start seeing me like get back to my not my old ways, but like just my outside appearance, taking care of my outside appearance. Cause I go months without getting a haircut. I'll line myself up. I'll push my line and back all the way. Then I have to go bald. I went bald a couple times because I pushed my line back. So and I'm like, man, let me fucking be dedicated and like just actually start taking care of myself more. Like as far as getting a haircut on a weekly basis, like buying more. I don't know about buying more clothes. Yeah, I will. Cause who wants to keep seeing me in the same stuff every single day? Like, I mean, but then again, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? Christians see faith is not the spirit, but praise what is coming. Anything that is not near there will acknowledge the color. Exactly. Pride knows the heart, so he gave. That's true. So yeah, self care is very important. Care how you present to the people. Like if you got a following, you got building your brand up. You got to dress the part. Play the game. If you, we, this is a game. This life is a game. When you know the rules of the game, play. You have to play it. So me, if you see me buy a more gold jewelry, like buy me a Rolex, like don't think like oh he's changing. Like just understand like I know the game like and I'm playing. I gotta play the game right. Like so, but just know my mindset, like the knowledge that's in me will never go away. Like so, I'm always. I may be dressed fashion up, but I never preach. no material shit. I never say, hey, this is the main goal. Like, this is what you spend all your money on. Because if anything, my jewelry would not be at least half of my net worth. Like, my jewelry worth would not be at least a quarter of my net worth. Like, when it's all said and done. So the image is important, but yeah, I'm not about to. There's way more things like to spend money on. Like, I can help so many more people, like not just my family. But I got 7 kids, so that for me to help somebody else, like that says a lot about me, and I do a lot of that. So since I ain't got enough money to like give every homeless person money that I see, I do my work in other ways. So like doing this, listening to audiobooks that got information in it that people can learn from. Like that's how I do my charity work. So I may not get paid from this yet. I'm not because I'm not monetized yet, but I always get my blessings in return. 7 kids. Yeah. So like I said, I always cared about how I look. So me being a pretty boy, it was easy for me to like. I mean, I have three. I have two, one wife, an ex-wife, and my high school sweetheart. So those are the only people I've had kids by. Like, pretty sure I could have had way more than the 7 I do got. Like, but yeah, I've been married twice, and like I was gonna marry the first one too. Like I was engaged to her. Like so that was ex fiance, ex wife, wife. So I was always like trying to do the right thing as far as like when having kids. I never wanted to just leave my kids and like just not take care of them, not be there. So I kind of made a lot of mistakes. Like, literally, I kind of made a lot of mistakes as far as like raising my first son because I was supposed to be there way more in the beginning. But I went into the military, had a big ego, like pretty boy. You know how that goes. Yeah, so 3 feel like 7. Once you got more than one kid, 2 and up, it feel like a bunch. So, but nah, when you get 7, it feel like goddamn this. Got high school in this bitch. There ain't nobody even over 13 yet. My God. So yeah, but I'm teaching my kids like making sure they go the right way. You don't want none. Chill. Exactly. So I learned a lot of my lessons early in life. Like so, yeah, I'm still young. Like 31 is not old at all. Like for real. 31 is still young. When you in your 20s, me, I look messed up in my 20s. 19, teenage years, 20s, I'm fucked up. Exactly oppressed, like I already said. So in my 30s and late 20s, that's when I started getting my shit together. So I was able to like raise my like fix everything that I messed up in my early 20s and like got back on track by the time I was 30. I'm 31, about to be 32 next week. So it's only going up. Like, and one thing people like to say, oh, I'm 31 years, when they hit their new birthday. I'm about to be 32 years old. No, I've never been 32 a day in my life. So I'm about to be 32 new. 32 years new on this planet. So you gotta just switch up like certain words and things that we say. Like, so I'm speaking newness in my life, like everything brand new. So my children keeps me very young. I'm like very young. Whether it's down to video games, like TV show kid, YouTube shows, like I know all. Like I'm a real active father. I got six of my children here that lives with me. And my oldest son who lives with his mom, like I talk to him every single day. I make sure he has nothing that he don't need nothing. So and his mom is like the, she dope. So hey, I didn't make no mistakes except for the middle. So fuck that up. fucked that one up pretty bad. But we good now. We good now. Exactly though, like 38, that's still you, bro. I'm like, my whole thing is I just wish I had kind of woke up in my like earlier. So, hey, I can't even say I got the kids out of the way because my youngest is 1, so I'm still young. My wife said she don't want no more little. So 32 still no kids though. Hey, like man, you should be a fucking billionaire. Like, yeah, you should be a billionaire right now. But kids bring so many blessings. Like kids brings like new start. Kids help you focus more, but they can be a distraction too if you let them. But overall, all of my kids brought blessings to me. Whether I thought it was a blessing in the beginning or not, they are. So yeah, of course. It's a couple that was in their 60s that just recently had kids. Like recently had a baby. It was probably like 50 or something. But I done seen stories of older women, and older men, of course. Like I have friends, homegirls, whose dad was like 60 years old when they had him. Like, so my shit keep going out because I keep talking.
Jesus, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Matthew 19:28.
So Jesus is not
Enoch.
going. Hey, my bad for keep pausing this, but Jesus and God is not judging everybody on this planet. They're only judging their people. Like I said, I'm not a Hebrew Israelite. I got past lives in Egypt. I got past lives in Atlantis. So from about to have 12. Yeah, on my mama I am. Like so, I'm about to create my own shit. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm gonna write my own Bible. 1,000 years later, shit. Guess what? I'm the man with the plan. People gonna be like, this shit is a fucking fake story. But nah, for real, I'm about to get to that level where Jesus was instantly manifesting stuff because he had no doubt. Like literally, I'm getting to that level where like, hey, that Christ consciousness is real. So as long as I just keep doing this every day, learning every single day, like expanding my mind. Watch, y'all gonna be seeing me do shit, and y'all gonna be like, "Is he know magic?" Nah, just tap in.
And I will bring out in shining light those who have loved my holy name, and I will seat each other on the throne of his honor. Glory. Enoch 108:12. Jesus. Woe unto that man through whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It had been good for that man if he had not been born. Matthew 26:24. Enoch. Where will there be the dwelling for sinners? And where the will there be a resting place for those who have denied the Lord of spirits? It had been good for them if they had not been born. Enoch 38:2. Jesus. Between us and you there is a great gulf fixed. Luke 16:26. Enoch. Then I asked, regarding all the holy places, chasm, why is one separated from the other? And he answered me and said to me, these three have been made, that the spirits of the dead might be separated. Enoch 22:9. Jesus. He will be great and will be called the Son of the Most High. The Lord God will give him the throne of his father David, and he will reign over the house of Jacob forever. His kingdom will never end. Luke 1:32. In my Father's house are many mansions. John 14:2. Enoch. On that day my elect one shall sit on the throne of glory, and shall try the works of the righteous, and their places of rest shall be. Enoch 45:3. Jesus. That ye may be called the children of light. John 12:36. Enoch. And now I will summon the spirits of the good who belong to the generation of light. Enoch 108:11. Jesus. The water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life. John 4:14. Enoch. And in that place I saw the spring of righteousness, which was inexhaustible, and around it were many springs of wisdom, and all the thirsty drank of them, and were filled with wisdom, and their dwellings were with the righteous and holy and elect. Enoch 48:1. Further evidence of Enoch's popularity. Other evidences of the early Christians' acceptance of the Book of Enoch was for many years buried under the King James Bible's mistranslation of Luke 9:35, describing the transfiguration of Christ. And there came a voice out of the clouds saying, "This is my beloved Son, hear him." Apparently, the translator here wished to make this verse agree with a similar verse in Matthew and Mark. But Luke's verse in the original Greek reads, "This is my Son, the elect one." From the Greek, ho eklelegmenos, literally, the elect one. Hear him. The elect one is a most significant term, found 14 times in the Book of Enoch. If the book was indeed known to the apostles of Christ, with its abundant descriptions of the elect one, who should sit upon the throne of glory, and the elect one, who should dwell in the midst of them, then the great scriptural authenticity is justly accorded to the Book of Enoch, when the voice out of the cloud tells the apostles, "This is my Son, the elect one," the one promised in the Book of Enoch. The Book of Jude tells us in verse 14 that Enoch, the seventh from Adam, prophesied. Jude also, in verse 15, makes a direct reference to the Book of Enoch 2:1, where he writes, "To execute judgment on all, to convict all who are ungodly." As a matter of fact, it is a direct, word-for-word quote. Therefore, Jude's reference to the Enochian prophecies strongly leans towards the conclusion that these written prophecies were available to him at that time. Fragments of 10 Enoch manuscripts were found among the Dead Sea Scrolls. The number of scrolls indicate the Essenes, a Jewish commune or sect at the time of Christ, could well have used the Enochian writings as a community prayer book or teacher's manual and study text. Many of the early church fathers also supported the Enochian writings. Justin Martyr ascribed all evil to demons whom he alleged to be the offspring of the angels who...
A lot of people believe that Anunnakis was the real gods. In the Book of Enoch, references the Anunnakis. But like I said, God knows there are multiple gods out there, so pretty sure he's aware of who they are. They all got their own set of beliefs, their own people, their own followings. So what it is a bunch of gods got their own cults, and they be going to war with each other. And the one who's the most powerful got the most followers. So don't mean it's right, but that's what's going on. And the one who's got the most power will always, their beliefs will always rule over the world. So unless everybody wakes up and realizes it's all just propaganda. But I do understand the need of it.
Fell through lust for women, directly referencing the Enochian writings. Athenagoras, 170 AD, regarded Enoch as a true prophet. He describes the angels who violated both their own nature and their office. In his writings, he goes into detail about the nature of fallen angels and the cause of their fall, which comes directly from the Enochian writings. Irenaeus, AD 180, in his work Against Heresies, spoke of Enoch, whose translation was a prophetic view of our future rapture. For Enoch, when he pleased God, was translated in the same body in which he did please him, thus pointing out by anticipation the translation of the just. Against Heresies, Book 5. How Enoch
Hey, it said
disappeared.
book 5, and there was like 5 viewers, 55 views, like in book 5. Like, so that was synchronicity.
Since any book stands to be interpreted in many ways, Enoch posed problems for
Somebody's
some
important here.
theologians.
I wonder if they're gonna say
Instead
something.
of re-examining their own theology, they sought to dispose of that which went counter to their beliefs. Some of the visions of Enoch are believed to point to the consummation of the age in conjunction with Christ's second coming, which took place in AD 70, in the destruction of Jerusalem. This being the case, it should not surprise us that Enoch was declared a fake and was rejected by Hilary, Jerome, and Augustine.
Jerome, you
Enoch was subsequently lost to Western
where
Christendom
Jerome at?
for over.
Jerome, you done rejected Enoch. What'd you do that for? See, that's why they took the book of Enoch out of the Bible. They like casted a judge and say this nigga's a fraud, cause who could just disappear? I don't know.
For 1,000 years. However, some view the Book of Enoch as prophetic, not only as a timeline, but being a picture into what is coming to all those who
Another
believe
question.
and are.
Why doesn't the churches read the Book of Enoch? If it's a part of the Bible, why don't they have that extra Bible of the Book of Enoch? As a matter of fact, I don't ever recall seeing or even hearing about the Book of Enoch in any church. Yet, this is one of the main, like, he's the main character in the Bible. Even if his book ain't in the Bible, he's mentioned in the Bible. Like, so, just certain questions that be popping up in my head.
Are obedient to God. By faith, Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and was not found, because God had translated him. For before his translation,
I will not see death. Even if y'all think I die, I'm going to just transition into, like, to the next level. That's what I'm trying to get to. Like, Jesus saw death, but he actually reincarnated 3 days later. He was just here in the spirit. People still able to see him. Like, so Enoch, God just took him away. Like, I'm trying to evolve mentally to where I can just be took away. Like, angels can come and take me. Like, and I want the world to see it. Like, be broadcasted all over the news and shit. May sound crazy, but at the same time, like, if this is the Bible and this is true, why can't it come true today? They gotta be hating. And I never hear them talk about, like, the verses that he's in. Like, so people are scared of Enoch because I guess what he prophesies and, like, the things that he was talked about in his books. Like, so me, if nothing fears me, nothing scares me. That's why I say what I say and I do what I want. And my life is how it is. Like, so my trajectory is always going up because I know who I am. I believe in, like, what I believe in. Like, I'm not a follower at all. I used to be, but I realized, we all have to be followers because you have to learn how to lead, of course. But there's some of us that's meant to lead and some meant to just always be a follower in life. So I'm not one of those people. Like, I'm very much a trendsetter. I very much, every time I reincarnate, I change the narrative. Like, I change the course of life. Like, so not to big myself up, but yeah, I am one of those type of energies. Like, that every time I come back, I change the world. So I'm gonna do it again. And when I go, like, my exit is gonna be a grand exit. Like, so
he had this testimony that he pleased God. Hebrews 11:5. Enoch experienced rapture in his time before the judgment of the flood. What Enoch experienced is what some modern Christians believe is waiting for the church. 1 Thessalonians 4:15 through 17
Wait, so
promises that Jesus will
Enoch died before the flood of Noah. Like so, when I probably pass away, guess what? It's probably gonna be a flood or some super a bunch of people gonna die too. Not to speak nothing negative in my life, but I mean not to speak nothing negative on anybody else's life. But when I transition, you would know like I did my job. Like it's gonna be a grand exit, and like death is a great thing. People think it's bad. Like, no, you're supposed to die and you're supposed to not be on this earth. Yet you got to come back because you haven't learned the lessons you were supposed to learn while you was on earth. And those lessons will not be found in just one book. Plenty of times it says you got to just read more than just the Bible. Like, that's why I tapped into everything that I tap into. Good, bad, whatever people think, I don't care. Like, it's not my business what they think about me for one. Like, so I'm never gonna be phased about their opinions. Like, the fuck. Especially when I see the people who be trying to judge me and they don't have nothing going on in their life, yet they're casting their opinions. And I'm like, I don't get it. Like, but I do understand because it's like being at a sports game. You got the people that's playing the game. You got the people that's in the crowd talking shit. Then you got the people that's at home, can't even make it to the game, yet they got their own opinion. Like, so, knowing that, I'm like LeBron. Like, I don't give a fuck what nobody thinks. No matter if y'all see me and y'all think I'm doing good in life or bad, just know I'm good. Like, just know, like, I'm focused. Focused on the mission.
descend
Whatever
from
my
heaven
mission
with a
is, that's
shout,
that.
with the voice of the archangel and the trumpet of God, and the church will be taken up, or raptured, to meet him in the air. Enoch supports biblical end-time prophecy. The Book of Enoch may inform and prepare us for coming events. Some believe there are prophecies contained in the Book of Enoch that are as applicable as those written in the books of Daniel and Revelation. The prophecies within Enoch are presented in several ways. There is a list of weeks, much like those of Daniel. There are a list of animals and their actions toward each other. There is a list of generations defining a timeline. Enoch's 70 generations was also indeed generations. Enoch's 70 generations was also a great problem. Copies of Enoch soon disappeared. Indeed, for almost 2,000 years, we knew only the references made to it in the Bible. Without having the book itself, we could not have known it was being quoted in the Bible, sometimes word for word by Peter and Jude. The Lord, having saved the people out of the land of Egypt, afterward destroyed them that believed not, and angels that kept not their own principality, but left their proper habitation. He hath kept in everlasting bonds under darkness unto the judgment of the great day, even as Sodom and Gomorrah, and the cities about them, in like manner, are set out as examples. Jude 5 through 7.
Like, once again, going back to God and how he destroyed Egypt for, like, how Pharaoh was. It wasn't that Egypt was doing anything wrong. It was Pharaoh, but it wasn't even Pharaoh's fault. It was God's fault. Because God kept hardening Pharaoh's heart. Like, so, God, when he destroyed Pharaoh, that was him flexing his muscle. That was him letting the world know, hey, I'm here. I'm the one. I'm the ruler now. Like, I'm the captain of the ship now. Like, because once again, Egypt was the greatest civilization at the time. Like, so we know that God sent Joseph into Egypt first. He was showing like he interpreted Pharaoh's dream like for him. Like, so, and Jacob saved, not Jacob, but Joseph, like saved Egypt. Like, so, God was blessing Egypt through Joseph, but he ended up sending his family, like Jacob, which was Joseph's father. He ended up sending them into Egypt, and they multiplied over 430 years. And like, God was nowhere to be found within these 430 years. Finally, Moses comes and he sees a burning bush, and God was like, "Hey, I need you to fulfill my mission for me. I need you to go get my people. They in Egypt, they slaves." And Moses was like, "Wait, what? Egypt? I just came from there. I just killed the dude from there, and you want me to go back? You want me to tell Pharaoh? Pharaoh just wanted my head." Like so, Moses ended up doing what God wanted him to do. Goes to Egypt. We all know the story. Goes to Egypt, tells Pharaoh, "Hey, God said, let my people go." Pharaoh, knowing who Moses is for one, but saying like, "Wait, who is God? Like, who is the Lord? Like, we don't know who He is because you got to understand, Egyptians believe in multiple gods, right? Ra, Osiris, Hathor, Isis, Ma'at, Bas. Like, they believe in multiple gods. Moses come and said, "Hey, the God of the Israelites, who you got as slaves, He's saying freedom." Like, and mind you, the only reason that they're slaves is because one, they sold their land, they sold their like soul rights to the Pharaoh. Like, it was all them like put digging themselves in a hole, and God finally seen them multiplied over generations and saying like, "Hey, yeah, y'all good enough to now to come like serve me and raise me. Like worship me. So now I get to free y'all. Even though once again I put y'all there. Like so, the way God has been operating, He has been playing chess, and it's been over hundreds of years. Like people are dying, generations are dying, but He's playing chess. Frees the fucking Israelites, and once again, like Pharaoh wanted to been free the Israelites, but God hardened his heart so he wouldn't let go of the people. And God wanted to show Pharaoh who he was, for one, questioning who he was, like saying, "I never heard of him." So this, in the story of Moses, this is the first time God reveals his name, Jehovah. Like before, he never tells Eve who he is. He never tells Cain. Like he's never told Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. None of these people know God's real name. They're all just blindly following him. Abraham was about to kill his son off the strength of hearing God's voice. Like that lets you know, like people was just they was living in. Of course, it was back then. Like saying, like it's not no technology. Like if I was to hear a fucking voice in the fucking BC era, like I may follow that shit too. Like just off the strength of like it being just me and my family around in the middle of the desert, and like life may be fucked up. Pretty sure they wasn't happy back then, but God was telling them, "Hey," from the beginning, He was telling them, "Multiply, have seeds, have children. I want you to have all the children that you possibly can." That's why He was giving them multiple wives. Like so, He gave Jacob multiple women. He gave Abraham multiple women. Any man so far in the Bible besides Noah had more than one. And Noah and Adam, those are the only two people who so far didn't have multiple women. And Jacob, I don't think Jacob did, but he was telling people multiply, spread your seed. Like so, it was polygamy. They probably wasn't getting married, but they was all like cool with it because God was like, "Hey, multiply, have as many seeds as possible." And He was telling Abraham, "Hey, you're gonna be the leader of generations beyond generations beyond generations." Like, and it came true because now look at it. Look how many people say they're the come from the seed of Abraham, Israel. I don't believe that. So, I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm not saying they're wrong. They're probably right, but I come from a different seed. So, and God finally freed the Israelites out of Egypt, and His only reason why He's doing this is because He wants them to worship Him. Like so, once He frees them, He got them building Him an altar, like burning offerings, like ministering to Him, like 6 days out the week, and on the seventh day they get to rest. Like so, once again, this like I understand this God because this is what is He created. And once again, I'm a fan of Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology, uh, Norse astrology. Whatever. I mean, I said astrology, but Norse mythology, whatever. I'm a fan of it. I love it all. I believe it is. I don't. I believe it's all real and fake at the same time. Like so, I see this Bible just as another one of those. So I get an understanding of who this God is, and through Genesis, I got that understanding. So when we finish Exodus, I got the understanding of like, oh, I see how we got to this point now where over damn near half the world is Christians, because like he told Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, all of them, spread your seed, have as many kids as you possibly can. Tell your kids to have as many kids, but don't mess with these type of people. Like it was cool for them to have Egyptian women because, as you know, Abraham. Well, Sarah wasn't Egyptian, but Sarah's gave Abraham a mistress who was Egyptian, and he had a child with her. And Sarah ended up getting jealous off of that and beating the old girl ass. So I'm like, damn, this is crazy. Like the Bible is like an interesting story if you really like smoke, get high, and then read the Bible. Some people be just go on Sunday and they read what the pastor tells them to read. It's never read. I mean, I'm pretty sure the pastor tells them, "Hey, read this for yourself," but people don't do it because they got everyday life, work 9 to 5, uh, sleep, eat. I'm like they ain't got time to be reading. So on Sunday they feel like they can just get their spiritual whatever it is for the week. So me, I'm a person 7 days out the week. I'm trying to learn something, so it ain't gonna always. It'll never always be the Bible that I'm studying. There's so many things that I wanna like help. Like I don't want to just uh, be good spiritually. I want to be good financially, health wise, like physical wise, look wise. So I'm always trying to make sure I'm on everything like that can just enhance who I am. Like so, yeah, I ain't trying to live forever, but as long as I'm alive, I want to be healthy. I want to be able to like move right, do what I want, like be happy, like not stuck doing something like that I don't want to. So I know I've been rambling, but yeah, I'm finished playing the book.
For if God spared not the angels when they sinned, but cast them down into hell, and committed them to pits of darkness, to be reserved unto judgment. 2 Peter 2:4. To what extent other New Testament writers regarded Enoch as scriptural canon may be determined by comparing their writings with those found in Enoch. A strong possibility of influence upon their thought and choice of wording is evidenced by a great many references found in Enoch, which remind one of passages found in the New Testament. Famous Christians who accepted Enoch. Enoch was also referenced in other writings, such as the Book of Jubilees, which is canon in the Ethiopic Christian Church, and the Book of Giants, in which one of the fallen angels is called by the name of Gilgamesh. The Book of Enoch seems to be a missing link between Jewish and Christian theology, and is considered by many to be more Christian in its theology than Jewish. It was considered scripture by many early Christians. The literature of the Church Fathers is filled with references to this book. The early 2nd century apocryphal book of the Epistle of Barnabas makes many references and quotes from the Book of Enoch. 2nd and 3rd century Church Fathers like Justin Martyr, Irenaeus, Origen, and Clement of Alexandria all seem to have accepted Enoch as authentic. Tertullian, 160 to 230 AD, even called the Book of Enoch Holy Scripture. The Ethiopian Coptic Church holds the Book of Enoch as part of its official spiritual canon. It was widely known and read the first 3 centuries after Christ. This and many other books became discredited after the Council of Laodicea, and being under ban of the authorities, it gradually disappeared from circulation. How Enoch was rediscovered. In 1773, rumors of a surviving copy of the book drew Scottish explorer James Bruce to distant Ethiopia. He found the Book of Enoch had been preserved by the Ethiopian Church, which put it right alongside the other books of the Bible. Bruce secured not 1, but 3 Ethiopian copies of the book and brought them back to Europe and Britain. In 1773, Bruce returned from 6 years in Abyssinia. In 1821, Richard Lawrence published the first English translation. The famous R.H. Charles edition was published in 1912. In the following years, several portions of the Greek text surfaced. Then, with the discovery of Cave 4 at Qumran, 7 fragmentary copies of the Aramaic text were discovered. This means the text passed from its Aramaic form into Greek, and finally into Ge'ez, an Ethiopian tongue. Before the discovery of the Aramaic form was uncovered, it was thought that Enoch was written after Jude and borrowed heavily from it. However, after the discovery of Enoch among the text in Qumran, scholars had to examine the evidence. Enoch not only existed long before the biblical book of Jude, it is now obvious that both Jude and Peter read, believed, and borrowed heavily from Enoch. This makes the book of Enoch, 1 Enoch, one of the earliest apocalyptic books. Most apocalyptic literature was written after the destruction of the Jewish temple in Jerusalem in 70 AD, under the feet of a Roman siege. Rome was considered by the Jews to be an ungodly nation as well as the oppressors and enemy of the Jews. The Jews considered themselves to be
considered by the Jews to be an ungodly nation. Pilate, wasn't he like Roman? So was they considered by the Jews like ungodly? Well, once again, God said everybody's an enemy who don't have my beliefs. So that's European people, Rome, fucking Egypt. Don't really mention them going to war with Chinese people. Now, like that's one, not just Chinese, but the Asian. Like they don't go to war with them. Like why is that the case? Why have Christians, quote unquote, went to war with everybody else, but not the Asians? Probably because it's more than
the chosen people of God. When the temple of God was destroyed, it caused great turmoil throughout Judaism. Why would God let this happen to his chosen people, and moreover, to his own house?
Cause like he been destroying his chosen people from the beginning every time. Like shit, dude. Said why? Cause these motherfuckers is retarded. Like, not to say all Christians are retarded, cause I don't want nobody to be like, what? You don't say we retarded? Nah, but some of them like, I've been to a lot of churches throughout my life. I was dedicated years to like serving God, like to Jesus, but I had no true relationship with either of them. Like I didn't form that relationship until I left the church. Like so, I would hope everybody would like just leave and form their own beliefs, and then like if they find out like what they've been believing in from the beginning is a good thing, like good, but still go out and explore, like learn some other shit that you never thought you would read. Like that's why I said if I'm gonna read some shit by Aleister Crowley on here, like don't be surprised like if I'm doing something the complete opposite of what we listening to today, like because I'm interested in it all.
Answer must be that the Jewish people had sinned and wandered away from the will of God. If this were true, then when the Jewish nation repented and came back to God, he would avenge them by allowing the Jews to conquer and crush their enemies. The Jews would once again appear to be the victorious and chosen people they were meant to be. The return of the Jewish nation to the strict will and law of God and the battle and victory through God's help is the basis of most apocalyptic literature. This is not the case in the first and oldest section of the Book of Enoch, written as early as the 3rd century BC. The apocalyptic theme in the section we are calling the Book of the Watchers is a simple one of blessing the righteous and destroying the unrighteous beings, both human and angelic. More traditional or common apocalyptic themes can be seen in sections of Enoch, written around 100 AD. The Book of Enoch is not one manuscript. It is a composite of several manuscripts written by several authors over a period of 300 to 400 years. How the first Book of Enoch is divided. The Book of Enoch is composed of 6 main parts. These sections can be subdivided further. It could be argued that, like the writers of the Bible itself, the various authors of Enoch did not foresee their contributions being concatenated into a single volume. The 6 basic sections are as follows. The Book of Watchers, chapters 1 through 36. Late 3rd century or early 2nd century BC. Overall theme, Last Judgment. This section is considered to be the most authentic and important part of the Book of Enoch. Introduction, chapters 1 through 5. Last Judgment.
Wait, hold on, y'all.
The Fall,
Just
chapters 6 through 30.
Just came across something. It says like Gilgamesh was one of the fallen angels. So like, just made me research who Gilgamesh is, right? So it's saying he was a hero in the ancient Mesopotamian mythology, and the protagonist of the Epic of Gilgamesh, an epic poem written in Akkadian during the late 2nd millennium BC. He was possibly a historical king of the Sumerian city-state of Uruk, who was posthumously deified. So, if he did all that, that means like he was an angel that just like was cast out of heaven and it just conquered the earth. Like came down here and became a great person. Like I wonder was I cast out of like it was I wanted to follow an angel. That's why I keep coming back on this bitch. This is really hell. Like so, all the fallen angels they came here. They're still here. And like ain't no telling what they got their own agenda, what they who they using, what type of followers they got. Like so, be aware of like with the spirits that's around you, because as you can see, you got good angels like guardian angel Michael, Uriel, Gabriel. But then again, I'm not even gonna say Gilgamesh is a bad person, but for the simple fact, if he was a protagonist and a hero, he was doing something good. Like so, what was the reason why Gilgamesh was cast from heaven? Like I wanted to do is say to him, but for the simple fact, like if he was a Sumerian king, like they looked at them as like the enemy. They looked at the Babylonians as the enemy. Like so, he was over there. Like so, that's why they don't get no love in like history. Like nobody ever talks positive about the Babylonians when they was like some of the richest. That was like the richest country at the time. Like, but God was like, fuck them. They get just like Egypt. He was like, fuck them niggas. Anybody who think they got power or like more power than me, like I'm gonna make them look bad in the end. Like so, overall, do we ever talk about Egypt anymore? No. Do we ever talk about the history of the Babylonians? No. Like so, some people see that as like stuff you ain't supposed to tap into because it's not godly. Like so, I don't give a fuck what people think. I'm a fucking historian, not just a historian, but like I said, I've been reincarnating through different time periods. So, like, I'm like it's a TV show. I can't even remember what it's called, but my mom reminded me of it. But it was like this guy who's always going back into the past, but he wasn't going to like different past lives. But like I have like different past lives in some of the greatest times like there was in history. So, like I said, if you was to know who I was, and like if you man, I'm not gonna tell y'all. I will rather y'all figure it out on your own who I was. But like on my last one, and with the time I was Egypt, I tell people who that one was. But like so, but me being here like 18 times, like if y'all was just follow y'all intuition and like with an answer, like come up with an answer, I'll let you know. Like it's only gonna seem like there's one person here right now, but besides my wife, I would want one person to answer who do they think I was in a past life. Besides Robert Johnson and Amenhotep III. Like those are two past lives that I've already mentioned. And I think that's what I'm gonna start doing when I got like a raffle. I'm a, I'm a, I'm gonna see if that's how I'm gonna do my stuff. Whoever can figure out my past lives. I got 18 of them. Like so, over time, I don't know what the gift is gonna be, but I need a great gift to like whoever get that answer right, they'll win something. There's a prize with it. So, hey, I'm not gonna tell people, but I want people to use their intuition, like in their spirit, like to like figure that answer out. And I tell people all the time, like the different time periods. I just won't say the names. I've actually, honestly, I've said a lot of the names already. So, like, if you can go back through my lives, but not just go back through my lives, but just like I said, use your intuition, and you could go back to the lives. Like I mentioned, a lot of historical figures in like the past, and some of those people, like that was your boy in the past life, or I had something to do with that past life. So I've been a spirit guide multiple times. Guardian, I'm an angel, an earth angel as well. So that's what I do. What I do. That's why a lot of people see me and they're like, damn, he can't be like who he say he like what he projects himself to be. Like that can't be true. They gotta be something about him. Nah, buddy, it's the real me. Like it's the real me. Like I don't hide nothing from nobody. I say what's on my mind. If people don't like it, like I said, that's not my problem. Like I'm not damning my life for nobody. Like I'm standing for what I believe in. If you don't like what I believe in, I don't give a fuck. What the fuck? Like I do not care. Like so, can't nobody prove to me that my beliefs is wrong. Like, until a person do that, which you can because my life is going how I want it to go. Like no matter what you say I believe in, you can't say it's the wrong thing. Well, a lot of people say, "Oh, the devil blesses people," but do you really believe in there's a fucking red guy with a fucking pitchfork and snake tongue? You believe that individual physically exists, or is that like a spiritual thing? I forgot the term that I was trying to use, but yeah.
6. Fall of the angels by having sex with the women of earth, the evil of the children, and the
That's probably
corruption
why I
of
fucking got casted
mankind.
out of heaven if I
The Book
was an
of
angel.
Parables, chapters
But
37.
my bad, y'all. Like I probably got casted out of heaven because I was like fucking with the human women. Like I had like a few like baby mamas who was human. So God was like, "Yep, your ass can't overcome temptation and lust. Well, it ain't lust, but yeah, you can't overcome that temptation." But in like the fucking Greek mythology, like they was Zeus and them was fucking humans. They was having demigods. How you think Hercules got here? How you think great people come and like help this fucking place succeed? Like some of these people are like half gods, half angels, got some type of spiritual rate. Like shit, I know I do. Like shit, so I hate that I keep pausing it, but at the same time, like shit, I can't help it.
Then
Just
through
like I am with movies.
71. First century AD. Overall theme: the Messiah and his judgment. First parable: Enoch's vision on heaven containing the righteous people, the angels, and the Messiah. Chapters 38 through 44. Second parable: the Messianic judgment. Chapters 45 through
Messianic
57.
judgment. That's what
Third
that says.
parable: the Son of Man. Chapters 58 through 71. The Book of Astronomy and Calendar. Chapters 72 through 82. Late 3rd or early 2nd century BC. Overall theme: elements of weather, movement of stars, planets, sun and moon, and the calendar. The Book of Visions, chapters 83 through 90, 165 to 160 BC, thought to be written around the time of the revolt led by the Maccabees. Overall theme: judgment and history. First vision: the deluge as the first judgment, chapters 83 through 84. Second vision: a history of Israel until the revolt, chapters 85 through 90. The Book of Warnings and Blessings of Enoch, chapters 91 through 104. Early 2nd century BC. Overall theme: warnings, blessings, and an apocalypse. The prophecy of the apocalypse of weeks, chapters 91 and 93. What will befall sinners and the righteous, chapters 94 through 104. Later additions to the text: Book of Noah, chapters 105 through 108. 2nd century BC.
So there's a book of
Overall
Noah.
theme,
Was
Noah
they
and
talking about?
Methuselah.
Is they talking about
This section of the books
hold it. Is they talking about the story of Noah, or like is there a book of Noah? Like, cause I don't recall reading the book of Noah. Like, so anybody ever like tapped into that, found that, or is like I said, they talking about the story of Noah? But I deem they are like very specific. Like they wouldn't make no simple mistake in saying like the story of Noah in the book. Like so, I'm 100% sure there's another book like that was took out of the Bible. I mean, I know there's probably like goddamn 100 some different books that was like took out of that motherfucker. So that was like my biggest argument is like, how can you follow something like it got so much missing information in it? Like, no matter if people deem it positive or negative, at the same time, like if it's supposed to be the book, this supposed to be the religion, it should have everything in it. Nothing should be missing. But we all know people have hidden agendas, so stuff is meant to benefit those that are in power. See, I want to go there too. I want to visit the Vatican. I want to be able to tap into like those, the information like that's truly hidden from the like land. Like I know I done tapped into some stuff in my journey, but I want to tap into some stuff I ain't tapped into. Like that, I like you said, the stuff that's hidden under the Vatican. What's in those books? Like, and I'm pretty sure it's not in English, so I wouldn't be able to fucking translate it. But I need to know what that's about, like what they hide or what they hold. Because I know it's a lot.
Seems to be added
That's
as
why
an
you can never know
afterthought.
everything.
It consists of fragments from other books, such as the Book of Noah. When the Book of Enoch was found along with other scrolls around the Dead Sea, the Book of Parables was not included. This was because that section was added later. In addition, the Book of Watchers and the Book of Visions were already joined and intact. Trustworthiness of the Enochian calendar. During the time period Enoch was written, the Jewish community was torn regarding which type of calendar to use. Enoch seems to tout a solar-based calendar that is 364 days long, with a week added as needed to make up for the missing day, and a quarter, 1.25 days. Compare 365 and a quarter days to 364 days. The Enochian calendar began each year on a Sunday. The starting point for the calendar was the spring equinox, which occurs around March 21st or 22nd, since the year always begins on the same day of the week.
That means like, well, according to this, the fucking year doesn't start till March. It's 2021st. Like, so around my birthday. Like, so according to them, like technically, December is supposed to be March, or not December, but summer December and summer January. As far as, but I always thought that way too, because I'm like, how you gonna start the new year in like the winter? Like that's when everything is dead. You're supposed to start when things is new. Like so, that's how they was operating. I don't know who was like, fuck that shit. Let's start in January. Throw this month. That benefits somebody as well. Like everything that's got a certain date to it, it goes off the stars for one. That's how the Egyptians was operating. Those operating off the stars. So everything aligns with that. Like, so that's why people tap into astrology a lot. Astronomy as well. Some people think it's fake, but that's because they don't know. So when you don't know, that just makes you ignorant. And when you're ignorant, guess what? You miss out.
And only a full week is added when needed. The calendar is considered to be a calendar of weeks. To put this in perspective, simply assume that instead of adding a day every 4 years as we do, a week would be added every few years as needed to align the beginning of the years as close to the first Sunday after the equinox. Now assume New Year's comes not on January 1st, but on March 21st. Although this is a bit of an oversimplification, it is basically the way the Enochian calendar functioned. The Book of Enoch tells of the sun traversing the heavens through a number of gates. The passage through the various gates represented segments of a day. The Enochian day is not divided into 24 hours, but into 18 segments of 1 1/3 hour each. Thus, each segment lasted 80 minutes. The Enochian calendar is a year of weeks. Since 52 weeks is not the exact length of a year, when appropriate, another week was added to reset the calendar. Keeping these rules in mind, when the prophecy of Daniel is examined, it fits with the Enochian calendar, which varies by up to a week, plus or minus in a year. The Book of Jubilees, which was written in the same time frame, demands and defends the use of the ancient lunar calendar. Writers of Jubilees reason that if one were to worship in strict compliance to the customs presented by the Torah, one had to use the same lunar calendar, so one would worship at the proper times and days. The Book of 1 Enoch does not defend the choice of a solar calendar. It simply lays out the math and astronomical movements. The Hebrew calendar is a lunar-based system.
What?
In this system, Passover occurs after
Huh? Yeah, tell Naya to get you one.
sundown on the 15th day of the month Nisan. Passover is celebrated for 7 days. The first Passover was in the springtime, and many thought it should be kept in that period of the year. Since the calendar is based in lunar movements, the Hebrew calendar is offset to the solar calendar by about 11 days a year. This meant that Passover would drift from springtime to winter, autumn, and back again. The drift had become so annoying that in the year 359 AD, a rabbi named Hillel II began the process of aligning the lunar calendar to the solar calendar by standardizing the lunar days to 29 or 30 days and adding a day to the month of Adar when needed to keep synchronized. Just as we
So knowing time has been manipulated and like based off man, human, how old would you say you were if it wasn't a 365 day? If there wasn't 365 days to a year to add up your years, how old would you say you was? Basing off like how you looked, how you felt mentally, like just going off that. I want to see some answers. Me, I'll say if I was gonna go off like the mirror and what I seen in the mirror, I'm like, oh, I still look young, so I must be only like 20 something. Cause I know I've been here for a while, like, but mentally wise, like as far as wisdom, knowledge, I feel like kind of old. I ain't even gonna lie. But like body wise, I feel like I'm in my 40s. So probably here. Like so. How about y'all? Like, how old would y'all say y'all was?
would add a day to our leap year. All of this information will become important as we begin discussing prophecy. So let's nail down what the Bible says about the first Passover and the date. Exodus 12. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. Ye shall take it out from the sheep.
But how old
or
are
from
you
the goats.
really, Willard? Like now, but now you gave me your age. How old are you based off like time? Like I said, mentally, like I know I'm like up there, but looks, people been saying like, dang, like every time I cut my hair, like you look like you still in your 20s. Then my mom, she looked like she still in her 30s. Blow sniffer, I know your ass probably 13. If we wasn't, now that you here, how old would you say you was? Like if we wasn't basing it off 365 days a year, how old would you be? Off what I see every single day, I'm gonna say 13. Just say that. I say between, cause I was trolling at 19, so I say 19. Like that's how old you would be. 19. Nah, you couldn't be. You have to take that L, boy. You still a kid. Just
And ye
like
shall
them
keep it up
lungs.
until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. And they shall take of the blood, and strike it on the two side posts, and on the upper door posts of the houses, wherein they shall eat it. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Eat not of it raw,
That shit
nor sodden
has
at
to be
all with water,
nasty as
but
fuck what he
roast
was
with
telling them
fire,
to eat.
his head with his legs,
Ugh.
and with the purtenance thereof. And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning.
Every time I
And
get a
that which
salad, they
remaineth of
want to
it until the
fucking put so
morning ye shall
many
burn with
extra
fire.
onions on it. Like,
And
god
thus
damn.
shall ye eat it, with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand. And ye shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover.
What are they
For
telling me
I
to
will
eat the
pass through the
onions?
land of Egypt this night.
Because I keep
I
hearing
will
eat it,
smite
eat
all
it.
the firstborn
So
in
do I
the
supposed
land
to
of
eat the
Egypt,
onions?
both man and beast, and against all the
Oh, my
gods of
dog just
Egypt I
opened the
will
door. Like,
execute
I know you
judgment.
just got dinner.
I am the Lord. And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where ye are.
Onions.
And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the
Motherfuckers gonna
first
do
day
that
ye shall
today.
put away leaven out of your
The
houses.
people that
For
follow
who
God do not follow his rules. I know a bunch of motherfucking Hebrew Israelites do not be eating leavened bread. I don't even know what the fuck that is. Like, did God change it up the diet though? Like, I ain't gonna lie. He probably changed up the diet. Said I ain't gotta keep eating that same shit for eternity. But overall, I don't even see nobody got a personal altar in their house for God. That a person who says this is my beliefs, this is what I pray to every day, they don't have their own altar set up for God. Why not? I got an altar for my ancestors, like so, and I put food on that mug. Like so, why don't people put food on the altar at home for God? Like if He required that in history in the past, you don't think He kind of nobody does it. Not even in church do they fucking put food on an altar in church. Why is that the case? Why do they just forget about that? Yeah, my dog's some food. Can you get Nye, bring me something to drink, please? Try to eat, so I'm gonna try to just let it play. But if something pop up in my head, I ain't got no choice but this. Press pause.
whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. And in the first day there shall be a holy convocation, and in the 7th day there shall be a holy convocation to you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you. And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in this selfsame day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall ye observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at even, ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month at even. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses.
That's
For
why they took
whosoever
this part
eateth
out.
that which is leavened,
Nah, this was an
even that
Exodus.
soul shall be cut off from the
Why do
congregation
not
of
people
Israel,
eat how they say they
whether
used
he
to
be a
eat?
stranger or born in the land.
People going to hell.
Ye shall
They
eat
say this
nothing
is their
leavened,
religion.
in all your habitations shall ye eat.
If half of mankind say Christianity is their religion, they are going to hell. Based off they do not live by like his laws. And I'm not even a Christian, but I can just see that just from like outside looking in. And I have the ability to judge people because guess what? I don't have no law telling me I can't judge. Like the only way you gonna fucking live up to God and what He really want in life is for you to wake up and start questioning shit. Most people just shut the fuck up. Most people just blindly follow religion and they never question nothing. He don't want that. I mean, yeah, he want that so you can worship him and praise him, but y'all do it once a week. Y'all supposed to do it 6 days out the week. Like so, like I said, they got it backwards. Like they put job y'all. I ain't say y'all, but people put jobs first, relationships before God, kids before God, all this before God. But y'all like, how you expect to make it to heaven? Like so, right now it sounds like I'm preaching, but honestly, this ain't my religion, so like I don't. I ain't gonna say I don't believe it because I don't know what he created for his own people. Exact. Why when I got salad, my daughter said, I don't want that. But yesterday I had chicken. She just kept coming in like I had to get her something. But when it's a salad, it's a no. Close my door, please, all the way. Oh, now you trying to? Yeah, now you talking about? Can I only get the green stuff? Get out of here, bye bye. Nah, that's what you get out. You guys, close my door. Every time it comes down to food, my dog start getting like, back up. Or I kicked you out. But she took some lettuce and she ain't like it because of what I had on it. But once again, if it was chicken or anything else, steak. Can I keep having some? Like, What do anybody who has children that likes to eat? What do you get your children like to slow down? Do you just feed them whatever they want, like, or you just like show them pictures of like obese people and say, "Hey, do you want to become like this?" That's what I had to resort to. Like, I didn't know what else to do. Like without like saying, like speaking some negativity in her life, and, like her remembering it and being traumatized and like so. I don't know. Having kids, like you're gonna learn and go through different things if you really truly raise your children.
Unleavened bread. Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said unto them, Draw out and take you a lamb according to your families, and kill the Passover. And ye shall take a bunch of hyssop, and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin. And none of you shall go out at the door of his house until the morning. For the Lord will pass through to smite the Egyptians. And when he seeth the blood upon the lintel and on the two side posts, the Lord will pass over the door, and will not suffer the destroyers to come in unto your houses to smite you. And ye shall observe this thing for an ordinance to thee, and to thy sons forever. And it shall come to pass, when ye be come to the land which the Lord will give you, according as he hath promised, that ye shall keep the service. And it shall come to pass, when your children shall say unto you, What mean ye by this service? That ye shall say, It is the sacrifice of the Lord's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians, and delivered our houses.
Okay, get out of here.
And the people bowed their head and worshipped. And the children of Israel went away, and did as the Lord had commanded.
Kind of a long message. What do you think about God as being tapped into all consciousness? Like, what do you think interpretation is? Hold on, let me close my door. My dog is being stupid. Didn't I tell you to close my door? Shut up. Move. Can't you show no sympathy around here? Like, dogs, acting like they run shit. Now let me finish that. What do you think the interpretation like? Maybe we get told not to judge so we can understand that situation and get. Yeah, I believe God is consciousness on a certain level. Like I said yesterday, well, you wasn't here yesterday, but I talked about how Christ is a consciousness level, God is a consciousness level, and then you have the all. It's something that created God because in the Bible it says He's not the only one. So if He's not the only one, that means He has someone like Him, and it was something that created Him. Like so, that's just a consciousness level, but to understand that is what you said about judging others and like having an understanding, like getting to know them. That's why we have to reincarnate. For the simple fact, when you judge a person or when you hate something, you will have to become that to get that understanding. Like that, unless you get an understanding off the back and you like not judging. Like Jesus, He was not judging nobody. Like literally, He judged no one, so he didn't get any karma like in his life while he was on this planet. Like so he didn't have to reincarnate because there was no karma. Like he did what he came to do. Like so for most people, like in my last past life, right? I hated Christians because like they always had some bullshit to say. They always said, "Oh, he sold his soul to the devil to get what he got." So I never fucked with them. They hated what I did. I ain't care about them. In this life, I was brought up into a Christian household. I was born a Christian. Like so, what I hated, I had to become. Like I'm pretty sure there was a past life where I hated white people, and guess what? I was a white person in another past life. So, pretty sure I hated gay people in the past life, and I became gay in another lifetime, like to get that full understanding. So now, like I don't have hate for nobody or nothing for the simple fact I know now. Like it's about love and like understanding, like not to judge. Like so when I say I can judge something, it's like not judging and saying, oh, that's bad or like how you know how people is like they hating on it. That's why they judging it. Me when I judge something, it's like I'm actually being balanced in what I'm talking about. Like I've actually came to a decision and say, hey, what you're doing is not the right thing to be doing. You could be doing it a lot better because I see it. Like I've been through a lot of shit. Like I may not look like what I've been through, but I've been through a lot of shit.
Moses and Aaron, so did they. It should be noted that when the Gregorian or Enochian calendars are applied, Passover will last for 8 days, since the Hebrew day starts at sundown, and both the Enochian and Gregorian days start at midnight. Now, we understand that the Hebrew lunar calendar, the Enochian calendar, and the Gregorian calendar are all slightly different. When we turn our attention to the prophecy in the book of Daniel, called Daniel's Weeks of Years, we can now ask the first intelligent question. What kind of year was the prophecy based upon? It was based on the calendar of Enoch, which is a calendar of weeks. For now, let us turn our attention back to the book of Enoch, which is now called 1 Enoch. 1 Enoch, 2 Enoch, and 3 Enoch. 3 different texts. The book of Enoch will be referred to henceforth in this text as 1 Enoch. That is because there exists 2 other books of Enoch we will discuss. Another book of Enoch surfaced. This text, dubbed 2 Enoch, and commonly called the Slavonic Enoch, was discovered in 1886 by Professor Sokolov in the archives of the Belgrade Public Library. It appears that just as the Ethiopian Enoch, 1 Enoch, escaped the 6th century church suppression of Enoch texts in the Mediterranean area, so a Slavonic Enoch survived far away, long after the originals from which it was copied were destroyed or hidden. Specialists in the Enochian text believe that the missing original from which the Slavonic was copied was probably a Greek manuscript, which itself may have been based on a Hebrew or Aramaic manuscript. The Slavonic text has evidence of many later additions to the original manuscript. Unfortunately, later additions and the deletion of teachings considered erroneous rendered the text unreliable. Because of certain references to dates and data regarding certain calendar systems in the Slavonic Enoch, some claim the text cannot be earlier than the 7th century AD. Some see these passages not as evidence of Christian authorship, but as later Christian interpolations into an earlier manuscript. Enochian specialist R.H. Charles, for instance, states that even the better of the two Slavonic manuscripts contains interpolations and is, in textual terms, corrupt. The last great book of the Enochian tradition is 3 Enoch, or
How is he gonna say it's corrupt when it's based off his own opinion? How you know it's corrupt for like everybody else? Like that's what I don't like. People saying, "Oh, this is not good. It's not supposed to be there." Like, how the fuck you know if it's gonna benefit somebody else? Like, people always think they know the best for somebody who they don't know for one, and who they don't know is gonna come after. Like so.
or the Hebrew Book of Enoch. 3 Enoch is a wealth of
Motherfuckers who
mystical
be passing
knowledge.
laws be on that
The book
bullshit.
claims to be authored
They
by
be
Rabbi
on their
Ishmael,
opinion.
a highly respected and brilliant priest living between 90 and 130 AD. However, no fragments have been found dating earlier than around 400 AD. The book was written in Hebrew, but has a few Latin and Greek words and cognates. 3 Enoch has its roots in the Metatron tradition, which has Enoch ascending to heaven and being translated into the angel Metatron.
Somebody missing.
He is then
mentioned
given
Metatron earlier.
authority over the angels and the earthly nations, much to the protests of the angelic host. The amount of mystical information, along with the angelology contained in the book, is unrivaled. 3 Enoch is obviously a continuation and expansion of the Enochian traditions of 1 and 2 Enoch, which are drawn on for the story's foundation. 1 Enoch is most accepted. We shall examine the 3 books of Enoch separately in this book, with the understanding that it is only 1 Enoch that is considered inspired by some and canon by the Ethiopic Christian Church. The books of 2 Enoch and 3 Enoch have been of little influence within mainline Christianity. However, 1 Enoch, the Ethiopic Book of Enoch, addressed in this work, is of major and amazing influence within the modern Christian world, informing our beliefs and concepts of angels, demons, and the world to come. The translations used for this work are taken from both the Richard Lawrence and R.H. Charles manuscripts, in addition to numerous sources and commentaries. The texts were compared and rendered for easier reading by the modern American English reader, as some phrasing from the 18th and 19th centuries may seem
My opinions, form of judgment if they're about a person. And I guess it's from the person who's informing the opinion. 'Cause observation and opinion is two different things, though. So when somebody is observing something, is they're actually looking at it. Like somebody who forms an opinion, like they don't have to see something like to form an opinion. And especially your levels of consciousness plays a big part. If a person is asleep, they only forming opinion. They don't have no type of observation. But the person that's consciousness, then you could say, I mean, then again, it's them type of people who got their opinions too. So, like I said, it's all about the levels of consciousness.
somewhat clumsy to our 21st century eyes. When there are clear differences in various texts, a word is added in parentheses to show both paths of translations. In addition to the translation notes, there are biblical references showing how the Book of Enoch contains various Old Testament sources, or how the Book of Enoch was quoted, referenced, or was possibly used as a source document for New Testament writers. These biblical references, as well as quotes from other ancient sources, are italicized, and the chapters and verses noted. Notes and commentaries from the author are kept in plain text, leaving the bold text to be the Book of Enoch. Let us now proceed to 1 Enoch.
About time we got there.
The first Book of Enoch, 1 Enoch. The Ethiopic Book of Enoch. The first Book of Enoch, the Book of Watchers, chapters 1 through 36. Chapter
Too much
1.
with that echo.
The words of the blessing of Enoch, with which he blessed the elect and righteous, who will be living in the days of tribulation, when all the wicked and godless people are to be removed from the earth. And he began his story saying, I am Enoch, a righteous man, whose eyes were opened by God, and who saw the vision of the Holy One in heaven, which the angel showed me. And I heard everything from them, and I saw and understood. But it was not for this generation to know, but for a remote one which is to come. As I began my story concerning the elect, I said, the Holy Great One will come out from his dwelling, and the eternal God will tread on the earth, even on Mount Sinai, and appear in the strength of his might from heaven. And all shall be very afraid. The watchers shall shake, and great fear and trembling shall seize them all the way to the ends of the earth. And the high mountains shall be shaken, and the high hills shall be laid low, and shall melt like wax in the flame. And the earth shall be completely torn apart, and all that is on the earth shall be destroyed, and there shall be a judgment on all. But with the righteous he will make peace, and will protect the elect, and mercy shall be on them. And they shall all belong to God, and they shall prosper, and they shall be blessed, and the light of God shall shine on them. And behold, he comes with 10,000 of his holy ones, saints, to execute judgment on all, and to destroy all the ungodly, wicked, and to convict all flesh of all the works of their ungodliness, which they have ungodly committed, and of all the hard things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. Jude 1:14. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints, to execute judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds, which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches, which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. Chapter 2. Observe everything that takes place in the sky, how the lights do not change their orbits, and the luminaries which are in heaven, how they all rise and set in orbit.
I'm gonna form my own church. There is, with the laws is that heaven and hell is all a mindset. You must heal all from all past trauma. The only one true God is the one that's within yourself. Just stuff like that. I believe people will benefit more from the laws that I've learned in my life to benefit me. The laws of karma. Anything you put out will always return to you. That's why it's really important that I start my own book. But I really been procrastinating. Working on that though.
Order each in its season, proper time, and do not transgress, defy their appointed order. Consider the earth and understand the things which take place on it from start to finish, how steadfast they are, how none of the things on the earth change, But all the works of God appear to you. Behold the summer and the winter, how the whole earth is filled with water, and clouds and dew and rain lie on it. Chapter 3. Observe and see how, in the winter, all the trees seem as though they had withered and shed all their leaves, except 14 trees, which do not lose their foliage, but retain the old foliage from 2 to 3 years until the new comes. Chapter 4. And again, observe the days of summer, how the sun is above the earth, and you seek shade and shelter because of the heat of the sun, and the earth also burns with growing heat, and so you cannot walk on the earth or on a rock because of its heat. Chapter 5. Observe how the trees are covered with green leaves, and how they bear fruit. Understand, know, and recognize that he that lives forever made them this way for you. And all his works go on before him from year to year forever. And all the work and the tasks which they accomplish for him do not change. And so is it done. Consider how the sea and the rivers in like manner accomplish their course, do not change because of his commandments. But you have neither held to, nor have you done the commandments of the Lord. But you have turned away and spoken proud and hard words with your unclean mouths against his greatness. O you hard-headed, you shall find no peace.
Thumbs up. I really
Therefore
appreciate it.
shall you curse your days, and the years of your life shall perish, and the years of your destruction shall be multiplied, and in an eternal curse you shall find no mercy. In those days you shall make your names an eternal curse to all the righteous, and by you shall all who curse, and all the sinners and godless shall curse you forever. And for you, the godless, there shall be a curse, and all the elect shall rejoice, and there shall be forgiveness of sins, and mercy, and peace, and forbearance, and joy. There shall be salvation.
So it's saying like people that are godless will be cursed, but in my journey through life, some of the most blessed people are those that don't believe in like this God. They believe more in like science and shit. So like having that understanding is more like why people be trying to force their beliefs on other people. Like, hey, you're cursed. You don't believe in what I believe in. But when I walked away from church and like stepped away completely, like at first, I was like, yeah, I went through that stage where it seemed like I could have been called, I could have been on my knees praying to God and Jesus, but I wasn't. Like, but I would stay focused and steady and stay fast in my beliefs, and like shit, it started to manifest. Everything that I asked for in my life started to come, like without prayer, like without going to church, without paying tithes and offering to a church, none of that. Like I was starting to get blessed like abundantly. So like me coming back to church, I mean not church, but just coming back to like this is like full circle for me. Like I won't be doing this forever, but at the same time, like right now in the present moment, I'm listening to the Bible and I've been doing it for like the past week. So I've been learning a lot of interesting facts about God, just who He is, and knowing that a lot of people don't consider themselves Hebrew Israelites yet. They claim that this is their God, but He don't claim them. Like so, that's how I'm able to say like a lot of people is like if they get quote unquote Hebrew Israelite, they is going to hell. Like if that's what they believe in, because they do not live up to the standards of God. Like they're just blind followers and like full of egos and whatever else like they full of. Like, and I ain't gonna say all of them, because you do got the ones that's conscious and like know who they are, know what their purpose is and mission in life. But the majority of religious people are narcissistic and they think they're never wrong about anything. Me, I understand like I'm not always right. I don't know everything. Which version or what? Because I don't even know which one I'm talking about. I'm just speaking in general. Yeah, I'm just speaking in general. Probably be the King James version, like the one I'm speaking to, like particularly. So,
Salvation for them, like and a good light. And for all of you sinners, there shall be no salvation.
told you y'all
But on you all shall abide a curse. But for the elect there shall be light and
I'm
joy
part of
and
the elect.
peace, and they shall inherit the earth.
Little, see, most people say the meek shall inherit the earth, but shall inherit the earth. But no, it's the light. It's the positive. Like it's the people that know who they are. It's a few people who will inherit this earth. It's not those people who suffered all their life, went to church every Sunday, read the Bible. No, you're just a follower. Like literally, you're just following. You don't know who you're following. You don't know who you're serving. You just following because your parents follow, and their parents follow, and their parents follow. So nobody's stepping out of the box and saying, let me actually analyze what I've been like feeding myself, my children, my whole life, and like let me like see if like something else works for me. Cause it came a point in my life where what I was believing in my whole life, it didn't work for me. Like so, I'm like I need to like go towards something that does work. But now I had a conversation with God recently, and I'm like, we had came to an understanding. Like, he the man. He got my respect. Even though like I had made a deal with him, I said 24 hours. He ended up saying like 7 days. He operated 7 days, so I'm like, okay, we give it 7 days. So we'll see about that. And even then, once again, like if God comes through, like that still doesn't make me like one of his followers. For the simple fact, like I work with a bunch of gods. Like literally, I work with a bunch of gods. So he's just one like that works faster than a lot of other ones. So but overall, I will like give him his respect. Like I will like address him as Almighty God, God of Almighty, Almighty God, whichever one he likes. But we shall see. If he don't come through, you won't hear me mention his name. You hear me say the universe. But if the God of the Bible come through for what we had the conversation about, he'll. I'll always address him as the Almighty God, or God Almighty. And like shit, I give him his respect on my channel. Like, I won't ever knock him and say he ain't real. Or I won't. When I say the universe, that'll be separate because I understand those are two different things.
And then wisdom shall be given to the elect, and they shall all live and never again sin, either through forgetfulness or through pride. But those who are given wisdom shall be humble, and they shall not again transgress, nor shall they sin all the days of their life, nor shall they die of the anger or wrath of God, but they shall complete the number of the days of their lives, and their lives shall be increased in peace, and their years will grow in joy and eternal gladness and peace all the days of their lives. Chapter 6. And it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born to them beautiful and fair daughters. Genesis 6:1. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose.
So it sounds like the angels seem like that his. Wait, hold on. the Israelites is the God, the children of God, and the angels is the children of God. And the angels are like, oh, what God created, our Father created, looks good. Let's go wipe that up. It's fucking weird. Like all the fucking other women on the planet, why would you choose? I don't know. Once again, me high overthinking shit.
And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. And the
Why we ain't living that
angels,
long?
the
Shit.
sons of heaven, saw and
Why it seem like that number been cut, not just in half, but for black people, like this shit been cut double, at least for man. So I'm 31. Let me make it to my 40s at least.
lusted after them, and said to one another,
I'm telling you,
come,
this is why I got kicked
let
out of
us
heaven.
choose us wives from among the children of men, and have.
I was probably one of those angels in a lifetime, like, cause I'm pretty sure I got lifetimes not only on Earth but just period over. I'm pretty sure I got lifetimes everywhere else. Have you ever heard of it? Yep, first woman. As a matter of fact, she plays a big part in the show that I love. It's called Sabrina. It's on Netflix. But one of those dark shows that got a lot of information, a lot of occult information. So, yep, I know who Lilith is.
Children with them. And Sanjaza, who was their leader, said to them, I fear you will not agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of this great sin. And they all answered him and said, let us swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutual curses, so we will not abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then they all swore together and bound themselves by mutual curses. And they were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared, in the summit of Mount Hermon. And they called it Mount Hermon, because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual curses on the act. Jude 1:5. I will.
So, yeah, it said it was 200 angels that came down and said, hey, we're going to bind ourselves and curse you and sin. You know what? Now that I think about it, Kevin Gates got a song. I can't remember the name of the song. But he was an angel as well who came down and fell in love with a girl who was cursed to be here. Kevin Gates is very enlightened. No matter what people think, say, he is tapped in on a whole nother level. Like the people seem like at the hardest like journeys in life, like and overcome it, like or like they become some of the greatest people. Like so, I pray to the protection over him, like and not just him but his whole family, because you know like it's entities and forces, and deities that want to stop like certain individuals like that. So like I see why he is the way he is. Like he's not so much outspoken. Like so, cause he know how to play the game. Like so, just hope he win his motherfucker. Hope we all win in the game of life. And like that, so we ain't gotta play this motherfucker over. Like so. Games like if you ever was into video games and not just like basketball, but like the story modes, like you always died and you got a chance to come back. Like that's how like life like is reincarnation is. You keep playing the same game, like you get to die as many chances, get as many chances as you want, and then like till you beat the game. Like so, and you after you beat the game, you get a choice. Do you want to play the game again, or do you want to play another game? Like so, I know there are millions of other games out there to be played. And Earth is just one of those games. So this one getting kind of boring.
Will therefore put you in remembrance, though ye once knew this, how that the Lord, having saved the people out of the land of Egypt, afterward destroyed them that believed not, and the angels who kept not their first estate but left their own habitation. He hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day. And these are the names of their leaders: Semlazaz, their leader, Arakbah, Ramael, Kokablel, Tamlel, Bramlel,
My middle name L.
Danel, Ezekiel, Barak-Kishal. Author's note: Samlazaz could be another spelling of Semjaza, and possibly be the same entity. Azael, Amaros, Batarel, Ananel, Zakiel, Samsapiel, Satarel, Turel, Jamjael, Sarael. These are their chiefs of tens. Chapter 7. And all of them together went and took wives for themselves, each choosing one for himself. And they began to go into them and to defile themselves with sex with them. Genesis 5:32. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begat Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair. And they
I gotta understand, like, God has been doing a lot of incesting with his seeds, cause he's been wiping out his motherfucking people. Like, so, but knowing them came, like, Noah was knowing his wife and his sons and their wives, then all the animals, like, were they fucking animals? Fucking nasty ass motherfuckers. See, I'm just thinking negative. Let me stop thinking that stupid ass shit. Why did they omit this? That's a good question. That's a good question. I mean, I think they mentioned it like in the beginning, but I know they said certain people was like, this is fabricated. This is not the truth. Enoch lied about everything, so they were like, let's. But then there was certain people said this is the truth. So, but it is sometimes it says. I mean, I heard a little bit where it says they took it out because. Damn, I forgot. You have to go back into like the live where like the answer came up. It's just not coming up to me right now. But like they couldn't omit it that much, to where no, but we couldn't get a hold of it. Like, oh shit, the light always comes. Truth always comes to the light, right?
took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years.
They'd be repeating a
There
lot
were
of
giants
the
in
same
the
stuff.
earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
Damn.
And it
So God noticed like every man that was on this planet like was evil. Like, so he like, I gotta wipe these motherfuckers out. Like, so now it is at least it's like we not all evil. So like he figured something out. Like, but overall, like, just imagine a world full of like this shit is way worse than today. Like when it's like a purge 24/7. Like back in those days, they ain't had no police. They ain't had none of that shit. So when they wanted to go to war with a motherfucker, there was nobody saying, "Hey, you shouldn't do that. If you do this, you die." Nah. If God told them go get them motherfuckers to go take over, kill everybody, you know what they was doing? They was following what they heard or what they seen in their dream. Cause it wasn't like it was somebody physical. Like, so God was like, "Oh, all y'all bad, all y'all evil like this." And then, like, knowing like it was the angels who was having sex with the women. Like, now that I think about it, when David slayed Goliath, Goliath was a giant, right? So that means Goliath had to be a uh, have angel, demigod. Like some angels didn't give a fuck. Like once God destroyed all the fucking humans on Earth, the angels were still around. Like he couldn't kill them. So once Noah and them started procreating, that's how the seeds kept multiplying. Motherfucking angels came back like, hey, it's like roaches, man. You can't kill them motherfuckers, no matter what you do. Like so, he was like, man, that Goliath came back around and David was God's one of God's chosen. So that's how David was able to slay Goliath. Most most people is like angels. Not angels, say most people. It's few angels on this earth. Earth angels. Pretty sure it's a few of you people in here are earth angels that came here to like to spread the light. But
Repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the angels taught them charms and spells, and the cutting of
if you
roots,
haven't gave this
and
video
made them
thumbs up,
acquainted with
what you
plants.
waiting on?
And the women
I
became
really
pregnant,
appreciate it.
and they bare large giants, whose height was 300 cubits, ells. The giants consumed all the.
Alright, my bad, y'all. I don't know what 300 cubic is compared to feet, so I gotta pause this. Unless y'all know the answer. Or is they saying 300 cubic feet, as in feet or meters? Is they saying feet? Mythology. Yeah, I fuck with the. I start with the. I started with the Bible, of course, because that's what I was born into. But I always went into the mythology, so that truly gave me a full understanding, like of God and like just His side. Like this guy, I got this guy's side of the perspective. When you go into Greek mythology, you get Zeus's story. When you go into Egyptian mythology, you get Ra and them story. Like so, now like when you tap into this book, you get God's like side of the story. So he telling you how he gained his. The other guys don't tell you how they got the human fathers and what they did on Earth. To like so, this guy, like I said, when he built his people up, his Israelites up in Egypt, he let Egypt feed the Israelites and get them all fat and plump. And once he was ready, he said, "Hey Moses, go get them niggas. I need them to worship me. I need more energy and more power." So that's why people pray to him and like they get blessings. Because sometimes like he's like, "Hey, I guess so." I'm happy today and like I'm in a good mood, but most of the time it seems like God is in a bad mood and he don't really fuck with humans like that. He said his spirit, well, one day his spirit won't be with men. Like I'm pretty sure that's today. Like shit, you would not see the spirit of God in the average person you come across on the daily. Like how many people do you know you would say like, man, that person is truly like got like is a good person, got God in them. Like you know that person. If you believe in religion, you know that person is going to heaven. How many people do you know for no? Not even how many people do you know. Just the people that's in this live will come to this live later when I'm done with this video. Gone, blunt already gone. How many of you internally do not have that? You don't have to answer this question because I know like people would like to lie, but you know if you was to die, like your spirit will go to heaven, knowing like you lived the life you wanted to live. You was a good person. You was caring. You never judged nobody. You never thought negative. Like you never did nobody dirty. Like your intentions was always pure. Like you always kept a positive mind only. Like you was literally like Jesus. How many people in this life right now can say that they died today? They was like Jesus. Like, and I don't expect nobody to answer. Cause even me, I know it's like shit about me like that. I want that I'm working on, like that I want to work on, like that I haven't accomplished in life. So like I know like if there was a heaven and hell, like shit, I ain't even that perfect to make it in. Like so, me with having the belief like this is all a mythology. Like I don't have that weighing on my back. Like oh, if I die today, I might go to hell. Or I might burn for eternity. No, I know if anything, I'm gonna fucking return to this bitch. Like shit, It's way worse than motherfucking being in hell for eternity. And what they say hell is repeating your sin. What do you think when you reincarnate and you don't learn your lesson? You repeat your sins. It's for eternity if you don't learn, if you don't evolve out of here. Like so. Exactly, like if motherfucking hell was real, which when I was a Christian, I always had hell in the back of my head. Like, damn, if I was if I swear to God, and I never swear to God, but I'm not a Christian, so I don't give a fuck at this point. But I can swear to Him now because I know Him. It was a point in time when I was a Christian, damn near every single day I thought about like, damn, if I died, I would go to hell because I'm not like Jesus. Like I'm sinning like a motherfucker. Like so it was always a fear like, damn, if something happened to me, fuck, I'm gonna be in hell for eternity. Like just because I couldn't control my sexual urges. Like so when I overcame like just the beliefs of going to hell, it was like I was like, oh shit, it's a dream that I woke up from a dream and I'm like, man, I don't have to worry about that. So once I got that fear off the back of my shoulders, it was like I really realized this was a game. And like I really realized that everything that was I thought was an obstacle or that like was gonna send me to hell, I just realized that was a test for me to overcome. Like so, once I start overcoming these tests, and I realized everything was a test, I started like acing it, and I'm like became an honor roll student at life. Like so now I feel like I've been graduated from like the life of school and like the lessons that I needed to learn. Now I became more of a teacher. So now you'll see me doing more talking. And like the people who come to my live, it's like y'all teachers too, but y'all coming to learn something. Like so, and even then, like me, I'm coming to learn. I'm learning myself as I listen to these books. But most of the time, I be talking more than I be listening. But that's the whole point of the book club. It was for me to like hear something and talk about it. Like I knew for a fact that it wouldn't be listen to a book for hours and then you just watching me on camera. Like I knew that wasn't gonna be the case. So like even though you don't like probably don't care about me talking too much more than listening to the book, overall like my goal was to set something up where like I had something to talk about. So as I listen to a book, I always got something to talk about and there's always a new book out there. Like so I got endless content. Like I got endless time to be on YouTube. I don't have a job. Like I'm a stay at home dad. Like I got 24 hours out of my day to get up on this camera or post something on YouTube, and not on this camera on my phone. Like so, usually I'll be using my phone to get on like social media right now. Waste my time watching YouTube videos. Now I spend my days on YouTube creating content, like things that'll last forever, like things that's gonna be able to impact the world forever. Like understand like this video, even though I'm making it today, March what, 10th, 2022, this video will still resonate 10 years later. Somebody be able to watch this video and like, oh, it makes sense for me right now. Oh, I've never heard this before. Like so I understand I'm making like timeless content. This would be able to last forever. Like so no matter what people will say today, like it's gonna be somebody down the line probably 20 years later, like, dang, this is oh my gosh, I'm thankful I found this person. And he got thousands of like videos of content, hours of content. You gotta engage in class. This is dope. For sure, thank you, Willie, for subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate that. So most people ain't gonna agree with it, but those who don't agree with it, they don't. You don't need to be here. Like shit, ain't no. There's plenty of millions of other YouTubers who make videos that can be, you can watch. Like you don't have to be here. Like so. You gotta engage in class. Exactly. Like so, most teachers they just give the students the work and like don't really teach nothing. Matter of fact, they just read what's in the book, the answers in the book. They don't even know the answers. Like they just have the answers to write on the board. Like so, they can't really teach. Me like, I've been through life. I've got a lot of experience through life. Like so, I've experienced growing up with a mom and dad, then getting took away at 2, 3 years old, like by the SWAT team just coming through knocking on the door. Like so, Then me and my older brother being raised by like in an orphanage first before we was moved to a foster home with white parents. So imagine being in Milwaukee, like with white people, white suburbs neighborhood. Like it's gonna be some racist shit, but like for me growing up, I always felt kind of protected because I did kind of have my older brother there, like to be there, like to like guard me. So that's what made me feel so much sheltered and protected because I didn't have my dad with me the whole time. I had somebody older, like who's like I had something to look up to. So going through all of this between the ages of 2 to 3, not having your mom or dad, then getting finally grandma get taken care of, putting you together with your other siblings. So now it's 5 kids, 1 bedroom. I mean, it's not 1 bedroom house, but 3 bedroom house. 5 kids is in one bed. For like 10 years, it was only one bed in that room. So our older sister got that bed. Imagine like me, middle child. Like you know what they say about the middle child. He's the forgotten one. Like anybody who's seen the Brady Bunch, I was the Brady. My last name is Brady. The Brady Bunch, the middle child, that girl, like what she was going through, like that was kind of like me. Like so, I always was quiet. I let my older brother do the talking. I let him shine. Like so, I just always followed in his footsteps from the military to moving to Vegas to like getting on YouTube. Like it was like always following in the path because he's always made it. Like so, he was always there to be a guidance for me when I didn't have a father. Like so, even though I'm not getting what he's giving to people, like my brother. Shout out to D'Lo. I'm pretty sure they probably don't watch my stuff, but I know my brother. I know my brother CJ. He probably would never comment on him, and if he did, he wouldn't show it himself. But I know you. I'm gonna look into the camera when I'm talking to this. I know you are watching me. Like I know. So understand this. I love you to death. Thank you for like guiding me to where I am in this life. And it has not been like easy knowing like, man, most people if they got a brother that's successful, they can just call him anytime. Me, I'm like, nope, I'm a because I every time me and my brother would get into it, I will always go back first. I will always like reach out first and then we would always go back to it would be a cycle. So I'm like, I understand this cycle. I'm not about to fail this test no more. Like so, even though this like been one of the hardest tests, like just not popping up on my brother house. We live like 30 minutes away. I could have easily just been popped up on him. Like I'm like, nope, this is my test, not to just pop up on him. Like cause I could have did it years ago. Like it's been since 2019 the last time I seen him. The day after March 15th. Let me tell y'all a story. Like, so if you listen to Cedar, yes, I'm not the one who exaggerates things. He is. So when I tell a story, it's exactly how I say it is. It's no exaggeration. Like, only thing it may be is some cuss words, but it's nothing to like be mad about. Like I've grown. Everything has been a lesson and a blessing. Like so, March 15th, 2019. Last day I see my brother. Before I even go to his house, my wife wakes up probably like 1 o'clock in the morning, has to go to the hospital, finds out she has a miscarriage, comes back home, goes to bed. We wake up again, same night, well, same morning. She goes to the bathroom and she's bleeding everywhere. So I have to call the ambulance and they take her to another hospital. So ends up she had twins that she miscarried. This is March 15th, the day after my birthday. Matter of fact, March 14th, like this the first time my birthday goes right for me. Like I feel like I had a great birthday. The next day, everything's going bad off the back. Like so, found out she has miscarriage twins. Like, and I always wanted twins. My wife is a twin. Like, so I'm like, damn, this was the chance. And then my brother ended up having twins. So, like, that happened March 15th. During that whole day, the next thing that happened to me in that day, I go to the gas station, and this older white woman who seems to be homeless is basically asking everybody like for some change. She looks at me and she just kept moving. I had the money. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, damn, bitch, you just looking at me because I'm black. Like, I'm the only black person that you ain't want to ask. And I'm like, and I would have been, I'm usually the person who gives her that. Like, so March 15th is the day of Julius Caesar dies. Odds of March. So my day is going bad off the bat. Okay, I'm like, and then my brother had told me to come up because it was going to be Leon's birthday. Like in the next couple of days, so he was going to have a birthday party. So March 15th is the day after my birthday. Mind you, my brother didn't even call me and say happy birthday, but little bro, nothing, didn't, none of that. So that's all cool. I'm still like not tripping on that, but when I go to my brother's house, his girlfriend Royalty answers the door. Her face is like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Dang, my brother invited me over here." Like, mind, I used to live like he invited me to live there like a couple months before that. Like, so she lets me in. I go upstairs. He's in his office. I sees him and he gives me the exact same face. And he said, "What are you doing here?" Like, so I'm like, in my head, I'm like, dang, like this is like kind of like the final blow of like me having a bad day. So I'm like, forget it. I'm out. Like I played with my nieces and nephew, Leon, Jalea, Carnation before I left. That was my last time seeing them. And I'm like, all right, that's the last time I would ever like reach out, cause mind you, my day is already bad. Like I ain't even getting no happy birthday. Like the old my lost twins, old lady like being racist, or she probably yeah she was being racist. That's what I took it as. Like so, just the whole day, my day is going bad. I get home probably like the next day, and I'm spiritual, right? Like so, I'm not blaming anything on God, on like none of that. So I'm just crying, like asking like the spirit, like my ancestors, like, hey, why am I going through this? Like, like I'm positive. I'm on this positive. Like I've changed my life around to think positive, always be positive, but yet everything is going wrong today. Like so, I get confirmation by them, like, hey, everything you went through, you were supposed to. It was a reason why you went over there in a sad energy, low energy. Because if you had to went over there in a happy energy or in a different day, things that would have been different. You all would have been right back cool. You would have been right back codependent on him. Like so, when I went over there and I got that energy from them, I was also in that same energy, so it was mirrored to me. So it made me just go the other way, and like it made me depend on like just me, like creating positive minds only for myself. Like so, getting to 17,000 subscribers today like is very important to me because even though my birthday is like Monday, like hitting 17K on my YouTube without the help of my brother who has over 8 million subscribers, like this was all like built up from my own like from me, like from my doing it myself. Like so everything before then, like my brother like kind of helped me with, and I knew people had looked at me like, hey, you only got 27,000 followers on Instagram because your brother like gave it to you basically. Like so, I'm like once that got hacked, and I could like I didn't even the hacker kept hitting me up like, hey, I know you want this profile like this Instagram. All you gotta do is send me some Bitcoin. Like I did that like twice. I lost $150 like trying to get my Instagram back. Didn't work, so I'm like, all right, fuck it. It's a sign like not to focus on Instagram. For the simple fact, my Instagram was constantly losing followers every single day. Like so, I was seeing it. It went from 34,000 when I was around my brother. Like I got up to 34,000 followers. To the time it got hacked in 2022 of January, it got down to like 27K. Like so, even though I wasn't too much focused on Instagram and social media, just seeing that go down, knowing like I was trying to like be active and I wasn't like posting anything like wrong, like it was like letting me know like was holding on to what my brother. That was the last thing I was holding on to what my brother had gave me because he had gave me a lot of his clothes, out of his jewelry, like, and then like I got rid of that stuff, like, cause I had got to the point like, nah, I don't want to be in the shadow of my big brother no more. Yeah, it led me to this great space. I will always be grateful for that, but at the same time, now it's time for me to go walk my own path. Like, so I got rid of anything that I felt like was connected to him, and I didn't want to truly be associated with my brother, like, especially after what we had went through. So I'm like, if I fail, it's on me. If I win, it's on me. Like, so, like I said, hitting 17,000 subscribers today, getting that by myself. Like, I'm proud of myself. Like, I know I'm gonna take it way further and with you guys. So I appreciate y'all for popping up every single night, listening to these books. Like, cause it's motivating me to keep going every single day. Now my brother is posting his videos every single day. He didn't do that until I started doing that. Like, so, like I said, I know he's watching me. He probably in his mug tonight, probably not, but still, I know he watching me. I posted a short of my brother 3 weeks ago, right? And today he posted the same exact short. Like this, the short I posted of him was of him in his jewelry, and I was just saying my brother in his jewelry and how much it was worth, and he posted the same one on his YouTube channel, like that. He ain't post no type of title or nothing, but he just posted that same short. And it wasn't even a short, it was like a 16-second, 18-second clip. What's crazy is it didn't pop up on my phone. I was on my TV on YouTube, and I watch my brother's videos every single day. So like I'm a fan, like, so like I noticed that clip was on there. I'm like, wait, is that what I thought it was my shit? Cause his name was, you know how you post a video and they got somebody's title in it. Like I thought my video was on his, but I read the name and it was his video and like his title. So I'm like, wait, what? So I'm like, I know he's watching my stuff because first of all, he started posting every single day. Second, like now you posting like, I mean, it's his, of course, but that was a video I got off Instagram. Like, so it was a screen recorded video I got off his Instagram, and I just posted like just showing love for my brother. Like, so to know like 3 weeks later, he posted that same video. Like, I'm like, oh, you like just letting me know you're watching. You just not like commenting and like reaching out. Like, but it's an ego thing. Like, I know my brother wants to reach out. Like, and I know like as men, like, hey, nobody wants to be the first. Like to be like reach out, and that was my role for the longest time. Like I was always the one who was like reach out to my brother. So I'm like, I contemplated a few times, like, should I just pop up on my brother? Like people like, I did a poll on here and they was like, nah, don't do it. So I'm like, I ain't gonna do it. Usually when most people say no, I end up doing it anyway. But I'm like, nope, I ain't gonna do it. Get it cracking and don't start every time you start. Exactly. Like it was plenty of time. Like I had to start and stop and start over on YouTube because I've been trying to like get to where I am now. Like in 2017. Even when I was living with my brother, I wasn't consistent on my own YouTube. Like so that's when I got to like to Vegas and I was in like videos that got 5 million views, 6 million views. Some got like 10 million views. I was not doing my own stuff. I wasn't on my own shit. So I'm like, damn, Kenneth, if you was just have positive minds on me, consistent, all you have to do is be consistent. Record every day, edit every day, do that every single day. Like I didn't, like I was wasted. So I didn't just start doing that until like 2022. So like now I'm at 17, like I said, 17K by myself. That's cool. If I had did that when I was with my brother, I probably would have had probably a million subscribers, but that would have been most of his subscribers that would have been subscribed to me. So do I want his fans? Yeah, but at the same time, I want my own fan base too. Like I want to have my own chord. Like so, most people will want something that's just handed to them and not have to work for hard. I would want that too, but not with certain things like what I got going on in life. Just checking in. I'm halfway through the Celestial Prophecy since you recommended, so we can read it. Hey, shout out to you, Stan the man, Stan the Roy man, or Stan. Yep, Stan the Roaring Man. But you ain't have to order it. It was on YouTube. Like I watched it on YouTube. But it's good to have it like a copy for yourself. Like so. But at the same time, like I'm kind of, I ain't gonna say I'm cheap, but I like to. If I can get it for free, I'm the anybody who grew up in the '90s, right? Computers in Napstar, LimeWire. What else? Some of the other things like we was downloading music and like videos and movies. Like I was one of them people who I didn't buy nothing. I went on the internet and I found all the music. I found all the movies and the videos. Like if I had stayed on that path, like when I was in the high school, middle school, bruh, I'd have been a tech billionaire. Like man, and just with my brother and his popularity and his fame, like I'd have been like way more famous than this. But it's not. I don't want to be famous. Like it's not about being famous. I don't care about being seen. I'm doing this to build up my brand. Like, I have to do this to like build up positive minds only. Like so, motherfuckers is not listening to podcasts as much as they watching YouTube. Like so, me understanding that, I'm like, man, I gotta get on camera, but knowing I'm handsome, like what is? I know I'm handsome. What the fuck? I should have been on fucking YouTube. Like so, like it was just like things, subconscious things that held me back, like from doing certain things in life. Like so, keep it up. All this is powerful and it's motivating. Exactly. So I know what I'm doing. I know I'm doing my job. This is my spiritual job. Like so, I do it every single day because I know I have to put the work in. I did it on podcasting, but it was like I said, it wasn't as consistent as this, and it wasn't as deep as this. Like so, once you add those two together, look what you can create. Like man, like I said, 17K, and I started with 1,400 subscribers in January. No, I say I started in November 30th because that's when I started posting every single day. Started with 1,400 subscribers, 65,000 views. Made a deal with myself. Said, Kenneth, post every single day for 30 days, like you went on your spiritual journey. You listened to Earl Nightingale for 30 days straight. You didn't listen to rap. You didn't watch no movies. All you did was listen to positive books, self-help books, and you healed yourself for 30 days straight. I said, do that on YouTube for 30 days straight and see what you can do. 90 days later, or 90 plus days later, 4 million plus views, 17,000 subscribers. Like, so me knowing, like, just put the work in, like, consistently every single day, I create magic doing that. Man, like, I know, like, why would I stop posting? Why would I stop listening to a book when I know this is enlightening me more? Is helping me more. I'm growing more. I'm helping more people. Like, why wouldn't I do this? It's easy. I be in my office every single day. Whether I'm watching YouTube or on social media, I'm literally in this spot every single day. Like, so I don't have to edit videos. I don't have to, like, do nothing but do this. Cut on my phone. Like, literally, my phone is already on, but all I gotta do is go live. Put a title, play a book, go live. Like so, if you find like you got a niche, if you can do something to create your own legacy, because that's what it is. Like I said, I have the podcast already, and it's still growing. I have a YouTube now. Like that's 17K. My podcast is like 10 plus K. Like so, that's over 27,000. Like as far as like building my like with my voice, because the podcast it ain't no video. It's just me talking. Like so, adding that together, I have over 1,000 like hours just worth of me just like doing this basically. But now I'm on camera and I'm like, man, I should have been on camera because you see things, you capture things on camera. There's been times where I've been on live and I said certain things, and certain things happen. Like, and then that will continue to happen because that's what happens in my life. Like I can't do that. You can't capture that on podcast when you just recording your voice. Like the world won't be able to see that. Like so, people seeing me do that multiple times, and I'm like, yep, that's a normal thing. And it's just gonna happen more as I get on camera because my gifts just only expand more. Like most people who are Christians and religious, if they see me and they like was around me 24/7 and how I was and what I did, they be like, man, what you like? I know, like I know I'm doing the wrong thing. Like, cause why my life ain't like that? Like, so me, I took a choice. I took a decision to like step out on my own faith, like knowing like shit. If what I believed in like would send me to hell, like if there really was a hell, like, I'll be mad. Like I would didn't chase like didn't go out and like really chase my dreams and like go out for what I believed in. Because it seemed like when I was a Christian, I really couldn't chase my dreams. Like I really couldn't do what I came here to do. Like for the simple fact, if I was still in church, I wouldn't be able to say half the things I say today. Like if I was a Christian still today, like I would be limited. I would like, cause that's how it was. Like literally every time I would go to church, I had multiple things on my mind I just couldn't say because I didn't want to be like condemned or like certain shit. Like so, like understanding like I went through what I went through to just to come back today to be able to listen to the Bible every single day and like say what I say, no matter if somebody thinks what I'm doing is like sinful or like disrespectful to what they believe in. Like people know I'm genuine in what I do. Like people know I'm not lying. I'm not putting on no front. Like this is all me. Like I would do this if I wasn't on camera. I would go to my wife constantly and say, "Hey, this what's on my mind." Like so, I know my wife get tired of that. That's why I say I'm into what I'm into. Like, cause it's not about. I know if she listening, she might want to mute this. But I'm gonna just be up. Right? If you listen to this right now, just mute it. And I'm gonna just give you the okay when you can. Like, but my wife knows, and most people know I'm into polygamy, and not polygamy because that's marriage to multiple women. But there's things called polyamory and other poly things. Like so, me understanding like my wife supplies the energy she supplies to me, but like I can't say it because I don't know who listening. Like, but it's crazy. Like what I need, like what supplies, like nope, I'm not gonna put this out, like because I'm pretty sure if that person was to hear this and like, hey, I know he talking about me and I don't want my business out there. Like that's how my wife feels, so I get kind of I get it now. Like so, uh, understanding that, like I'm into like knowing like I could have like my spirit craves more than just my wife, and it's not just about no sex thing. That's why I mastered the. That's what I ain't gonna say I mastered it, but I damn near mastered like not masturbating. Like what is it called? No fap semen retention. Like I don't watch porn like every day like I used to. Like that used to be a problem for me. I used to watch porn every single day. Like couldn't help it. Like what the fuck couldn't like didn't know what it was. Didn't know it was an addiction. Didn't know like there's people like I wasn't the only person who was suffering from some shit like that. So like when I woke up and I was able to overcome all of that, like I was like, oh shit, like that's what made me attracted to so many women. That's why I was always craving sex. But now I don't have that problem. But I still like have like pictures is not just my wife is very beautiful, of course. Like y'all know, my wife beautiful. She rider, like by my side. But hey, I know we don't reincarnate with just one person. I know I don't have just one soulmate. My wife is my divine partner. She knows this, but I have a true twin flame. Like so, those are two different. Most people don't know that. And I have a karmic partner, and I got soulmates. I got a bunch of soulmates out there. Like so, like to understand, like I have a twin flame, and my wife knows that, and to be able to be open to her and say, babe, like, I love you. Like I don't cheat. Like I'm not how I used to be. Like it ain't that. Like, but to know, like I know, like I got a twin flame. And I know who she is, and like I had to tell her who she, like what it was, and she's a Christian. Like that person is religious. Like she's not as spiritual as me. Like so, but like to know, like I had to tell both these people, and one person is still actually dealing with a person, but we're still connected. Like I had like she's there. Like she would never go nowhere. Like so, my wife knows that. Like so, like to understand to be able to be me and like know like I don't lie to nobody. Like literally, whatever is on my mind, I gotta say it. Like that's why I told my wife, hey, if you don't want it, pause it. If you don't want to hear it, she probably didn't pause it, hard headed. So, like, but understanding, like, I'm me 24/7. Like, I don't hide stuff. And to know, like, my brother dropped a video, I think it was the other day, with my nephew Leon, who had multiple girlfriends, and they was cool with it because, like, he was honest and open. And I actually had a conversation with my son before my brother did that video. I'm like, bro, I ain't say bro, but I'm like, son, I know there's multiple girls that like you. Like, if you like multiple girls, like you gotta be able to be open and honest with every single person. Like if you're attracted to that, if you wanna like be with somebody, like but you don't wanna sacrifice like being with somebody else, like you gotta be able to be open and honest. And if they not with it, then you it's oh well. But like I know I'm not about to lose my wife to like go after my twin flame. Like so, like but once again, my twin flame ain't going nowhere. Like she kind of stuck just as well as my wife is stuck with me. Like so, like it's just complicated. I ain't gonna say it's complicated. I got it figured out. Everybody else just don't. Or are you coming out the are you? I know the effects on the mind people don't realize makes you hella less for the Exactly. I don't. But I had to get out of, bruh. You telling nothing but the truth, Mr. Evers. Like telling nothing but the truth. Like so, knowing that I overcame all of that, like, and so what I when I told my wife like about my twin flame, like it wasn't about no lust, none of that. Like it's a whole different energy, like that a twin flame supplies that your divine partner supplies. Like they not going, none of them going nowhere. I'm like even through death they'll still be there. Like so, I'll still dream. Like I'll still think about them. I'll still smell. Like no matter what, these two women are there permanently. Like so, most people will have that in their life where it'll be somebody that they're connected to, but they'll keep cheating on one partner with the other partner. So it'll be something toxic. Me, I'm like, that's not what I want. I told like my wife, I wouldn't ever like do no grimy shit like I used to be on in my heydays. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, but I've evolved to the point where like it ain't even about that. Like, it's energy. Like, it's different energy. I can't. Anybody who know, like, if you got any fella out there, and women don't be open and honest like I am. Like women be interested in multiple people. They don't like they be no, but I can't say all. It just be something like because it's something where I realize they are focused on one person. Like and it's only one person, but there's certain people who like it's multiple people. Like so, like having that understanding and like knowing that like I have no choice but to be honest and like I said, not only with my wife but with to y'all because that's how you attract a real like not fan base but a real like subscriber like a loyal person like even though I don't tell y'all everything, like, but my wife be like, you may not say everything, but you say everything. You say enough. Like, literally, honesty is key, especially when you're on a platform like this. Like, so most people be like, they exaggerate a lot of things. So, but if this is an entertainment space as well, like YouTube, like people do things because it's entertaining. It's what brings the people in. It's what captures the people. Like, so we all are playing our own role. I know what my role is. I even know what certain other people's role is. Like I figured that out a long time ago. So me, like I won't ever judge nobody what they do, how they do, what they think. Like that's ain't on me. What you believe in, that's on you. Like it's cool with me. Like, but at a time, I would be like not like this. Like so. Should we be done with the book? Like we didn't even really get that far. We only got an hour in on the book. Like even though I know I did a lot of talking, like I feel like it's only 9:44. We can keep going, like because this is longer than like the book of Genesis and Exodus. Like so, I was able to do those in like 3 different parts. So I already know this was gonna take a little bit longer than just 3 parts, and like it's different books and with the commentary, like we was listening to somebody who wasn't even reading. It wasn't even the book of Enoch. They were just reading different scriptures. So, like, I'm a kind of But shout out to Tasha coming through once again. Appreciate it.
Work and toil of men, and when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh, and drank the blood. Then the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones.
Said the earth, not even God. Super Saiyan.
Chapter 8.
Wow, changed my whole life.
And
Hey, I'ma
Azazel
get to the
taught
end, too.
men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and taught them about metals of the earth and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of precious stones, and all coloring and dyes. And there was great impiety. They turned away from God and committed fornication, and they were led astray and became corrupt in all their ways. Semjaza taught the casting of spells and root cuttings. Amaros taught counter spells, release from spells. Barak Kijal taught astrology. Kokabel taught the constellations,
Yeah.
portents.
And the things that they
Ezekiel,
taught,
the knowledge of
the things that they've taught are the things that on my journey I've had to learn for myself. Like spells, like protection of myself from spells, like all of that. Like that's why when people say, oh, hoodoo, voodoo, all that is bad, but when you are spiritual, like you need to know like the type of energies that you need to protect yourself from, like what can harm you, what can harm your family, like so like I don't practice anything, but I've learned a lot. Like so be careful who you deal with because you never know who you mess with spiritually, like who where they rank spiritually, like you never know. Like some people just see a person as a person but think like they never know like who's with that person. What book did you read to protect yourself from a spell? Oh, well, it wasn't truly a book. It was YouTube. Like honestly, you can learn everything from YouTube as far as Bobby Hemmett. I told you about Bobby Hemmett. Bobby Hemmett, Brother Panic. Those are the people who to teach you how to protect yourself. Like so, I've learned how to do to protect myself from damn near anything and anybody. Like it's been people who've been trying to kill me. Like, and I ain't even on no type of fucking level like that. Like so, but there's been people who literally tried to take me out. It's just exactly like it's different spells. So, like me, I've learned like how to just protect myself from like just the smallest thing. Like females will literally put their period blood in somebody's spaghetti and have that man attracted to them forever. And then it'll be so toxic. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's been women who would do stuff to men and, like, literally have them, like, stuck on them. And I'm like, damn, you don't see, like, something on you? Like, I warn people, but they ain't, like, taking my advice. So I'm like, hey, people don't want to be safe. So it ain't on me to save them. But, yeah, people do kind of crazy shit. But and it's not just that, like they do other shit too. Like you'd be surprised what women did and what they know how to do to keep a man. Must got into some deep shit. I ain't no like I've been into things like as far as like spiritual wise, like it's been like people who know like how powerful like I am, like overall, and then like just spiritually like try to put a spell on a nigga. Like so I know like I'm on the right path and I with me like knowing the information, can't nobody outdo me as far as like reading, like spiritualized, like I'm one of them people like that knows a lot about the spiritual side, about the other side. Like so exactly it back every time it backfires. Like so I've seen things like when people try to attack me where their life just be fall apart because of what they did. Like so I don't even have to attack people, but when I do decide to attack, and like I said, there is no karma for me because I'm walking in my true path. Like I could truly do whatever the fuck I want because I'm like Jesus. Like Jesus was in love, but like I'm not more like Jesus. I'm more like God. Like shit, he'll destroy you for fucking with him. Like so, but I have more compassion as well. Like I'm more able to forgive somebody who's like who tried to harm me over with God, and he'll just take you out. Like and people ain't even try to like take out God. They can't even see him. What you gonna do to a voice? Like so, or even have family, they be on some weird shit sometimes, especially the mean cousins. Hey, especially the aunties. Like I'm telling you, like it's some people out there that probably still watch me today, knowing my YouTube is popping off. Like they be watching me and they be like, oh my gosh, we can't stop him. It's nothing we can do. We tried everything. They didn't try. I'm telling you, they didn't try to take me out. Own family, like so. I've prevailed above it all. Like so to know, like when I go out into the world and know it's gonna be people who want to be against me, like I've already overcame them. Like, so I already know not to trust family. I know not to. I don't trust nobody. Like, what the fuck? Like, I look at everybody. Like, not everybody, but damn near everybody. Like, hey, my spirit say something negative about you, off the back, I don't trust you. Like, so most of the time, people be having negative thoughts on them, their mind. So I pick up on that. So, like, if you think you're negative, off the back, I can't be around you. You don't got control over your mind. You're a drifter. Like, so. I think it's because of pride. It's because of pride. It's because of jealousy. It's because of favoritism. It's because of a bunch of things. This is earth. This is hell. Like so, the worst thing you can think of is that's the answer. Like so, me understanding that I'm the light. Like literally, I know I'm the light. Like I shine bright and I don't dim it for no one, not a man or woman or nothing. Like so, that's why I'm as open or I'm as honest because even if they try to kill me, hey, if it's my time to go, I'm gone. Like I did what I did. Like I tried to do what I did. Like I said, so I chased my dreams and my goals. Like I lived my life how I wanted to live it, under like no man's laws or rules, and like I prevailed in everything that I've been challenged with so far. Like so, like to know like if I was to die today, like I'm kind of happy how my life turned out, but if I was a Christian, would I make it into heaven? I don't know, but I ain't no Christian, so that don't bother. It don't mean shit to me. I don't believe that ain't my beliefs. Like shit, whatever your beliefs is, that's on you. Like shit, most people who are Christians, guess what, are sinners. So if they were to die today, guess where they'll be going? Mentally to hell. Cause even me knowing like shit, it's all mental. Like this shit is all mental.
Clouds. Arakiel, the signs of the earth. Shamsiel, the signs of the sun. And Sariel, the course of the moon. And as men perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven. Chapter 9. And then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed on the earth, and all lawlessness being done on the earth. And they said to each other, let the cries from the destruction of earth ascend up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men make their petition, saying, bring our cause before the Most High. And they said to the Lord of the ages, Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings, and God of the ages, the throne of your glory endures through all the generations of the ages, and your name holy and glorious and blessed to all the ages. You have made all things, and you have power over all things, and all things are revealed and open in your sight, and you see all things, and nothing can hide itself from you. Look at what Azazel has done, who hath taught all unrighteousness on earth, and revealed the eternal secrets which were made and kept in heaven, which men were striving.
Azael gave the secrets to heaven. Like that's why, like I know what I know because he was like, "Ooh, let me give this to man," and man was God was like, fuck out of here. They ain't supposed to give him. We can hide a secret. Why? But why is God holding on to the secrets? Like, why is this God is like not willing to share the information? if anybody is aware of Thoth, and that's the Egyptian god of wisdom, like he wants everybody to be wise. Why is this guy so like selfish and like hate? I ain't like gonna say he hateful, but he said he a jealous God. Like, but what is once again why you need to be jealous if you're the God of Almighty God? Like so, not to say he wrong for what he believed, but like we got egos, so I know he got an ego. Zeus got an ego. Like they all got egos. Like, they all be doing things that ain't so holy and righteousness. Like him destroying the world, no matter how bad men are, they should have just destroyed their own selves or anything, let them evolve into like, because it wasn't like they could destroy the world, like, but then yeah, they did. Look what they did in Atlantis, and that was way before this time period. Like the people that was on Atlantis, where people think, oh, that's fake, it's not real. No, they really sunk that because they was evil and they was trying to get all the power and like all of that, and they fucking destroyed it. Then the people who survived, guess where they went? They went to Egypt, built Egypt up. That's why Egypt became the greatest thing. Then God was like, oh, my turn to take over. Got rid of Egypt. Now look at Egypt today. Nobody barely goes. It's not known as the greatest civilization no more. Like so, hey, 6,000 years later, or however many years later this is, we here now. Like so, most people take it as their their truth. Me, I take it as just like another mythology. Like so, it's all interesting to me. It's all fun to me. Like, but I don't take it too literal, too serious. For what? I don't know if it's true. Like so, yes, it was more than tsunami that took him down. Like it definitely had like the water, like that water definitely took over. But what they did to cause that tsunami, like they was generating so much energy and power, and plus the shit they was doing, like there was, you know how anybody who's interested, I mean not interested, do I got thoughts right here. Like so how they was doing it in Atlantis, right? You see how I got a hawk head with the man's body? Like they was doing shit like putting these things together, things that had no business like being created. They knew how to mentally create anything they can. Like they wanted basically the power of God, and they was using it in a destructive manner. And guess what? They end up being wiped out. So hopefully, man, learn from their lessons, but you know they don't. So, and you know, I mean, it's just a matter of time. But people always say, no, the Bible is true because the end is near. Yes, it always is the end. Like it always does restart. So me having that understanding, like, yeah, it might be close coming back to when like this motherfucker is about to just goddamn blow up and got only one person or 100 people survive and gotta start back over. Like so, you bet. That's why I said people who are believers of Christ and like Christianity, like if you was to die today, do you think you would go to heaven, or would you be somewhere on the other side burning? And being wicked, exactly. Like motherfuckers was definitely wicked back in those days. Like so, and they still wicked today. Look what how they be doing. Like look at what's going on with Russia and Ukraine. Like so, well, Mariana Gray, shout out to you for coming through. Blessings, show. Like so, like me, like just having my understanding, just me being 31 and not having, so God is punishable. Hell, I mean, like if you believe Mr. Everest, do you consider yourself a Hebrew Israelite? Like that's one thing. Do you consider yourself a Hebrew Israelite? Because if so, yes, he is very punishable. He destroys the wicked. He don't fuck with people, man. He don't fuck with people at all, honestly. You don't want us to call it daddy. Like, see, like he don't want no other god before him, but he knows there's gods. Like he knows there's other gods, but he don't want you to believe in them more than you believe in him. Like so, for me, like I said, I don't worship God. I don't follow God. Like I know who He is, but I know other gods as well. I myself is a god. I just came down here like because like hey, I be doing that sometimes to help mankind out, like, and I do a great job at it. Like so, I'm kind of doing His work for Him. Like, 'cause how many people have God really saved on this planet? Really? I'm pretty sure people was in a fucked up position and they once prayed and their life got better, but Did their life get better after that, or did they just stay just on that level? Like some people don't just keep evolving and growing and getting better and better. They just was a drug addict and then stopped being a drug addict. They just got a job for the rest of their life and just did that. Like so, like is that truly better? Like you should have stayed being a drug addict where when you was on drugs you was pretty sure experiencing the fucking universe. So hey, I'm not encouraging people to do drugs, but I fuck with the psychedelics and I fuck with weed. So
To learn, and Sanjaza, who taught spells, to whom you gave authority to rule over his associates. And they have gone to the daughters of men on the earth, and have had sex with the women, and have defiled themselves, and revealed to them all kinds of sins. Genesis 6:4.
oh,
There
so
were
Azael, like when he revealed the secrets to man, like he revealed the sins, and that the sins was like, I mean, it couldn't have been sex because God told Abraham and them like to like just bust into everybody, like have as many kids as possible. Like, so what was the sins are they talking about? Like murder? Because it couldn't be that because God been murdering. Like Cain already murdered somebody. So is the Book of Enoch before the Genesis or after? Like that's been a conversation like already. But like, what's the sins that like as Azael brought and revealed to man? Because God didn't already did like damn near every sin that I can think of. And men have too. So
giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men which were of old, men
Hercules.
of renown. And the women have borne giants, and the whole earth has thereby been filled with
Damn,
blood.
imagine in fucking those days to like be a regular ass woman, but to give birth to a motherfucking giant. You ain't got no hospital. Like, you ain't got no like what the fuck? You know they wasn't living that long. Like back in the day, like women like they didn't go to school like we did to 12th grade. Like men didn't either. Like so when they had children, they would get married at a young age, and women would usually have children around 16. Like so, a lot of them died giving birth because they didn't have like the medicine or like just what we have today. So, God, humble servant. Hey, yeah, we all God's humble servant, right?
And unrighteousness. Genesis 6:5. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his hearts was only evil continually. And it repented the
There's a lot
Lord
of
that he had made
repeatedness
man
in the
on the
Bible.
earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And now, behold, the souls of those who have died are crying out and making.
When did it get out of God's hand? Like, when did he like, damn, I can't even control this shit. It done got too bad. Like, if he's like the, but once again, he's not the God of all. There's multiple God and there's multiple people out there. He can't control every single person like his followers think he can. That's why he doesn't appear to everybody. He only appeared to Moses. He only came to Abraham. Like certain people, he wasn't appearing to every single person who followed him. He didn't talk to every single person who followed him. Like it was only certain people. Like so to know, like most of them was sinning because they didn't have true faith in God. Like they was going basically he say she say. So no wonder like religion is full of hypocrites and all because people don't have true faith in God. They just are blind followers because their parents told them, "Hey, this is your belief." They never questioned it. Me, I questioned everything. I didn't have a mom or dad, like so. Most people say, "Hey, don't question your mom and your dad." So I didn't have that. Like that wasn't an option. So I didn't question my grandma or Gigi, but I did have those thoughts. And as I got older, I started to just ask those questions out loud. Like I wasn't saying it in church, but like I was asking like church people, like I was debating with people to say, hey, why is these thoughts that I'm thinking can't nobody answer them? So now I got out of the stage of trying to debate people because I'm like, hey, what's the point of that? Like But if you listen to the Celestine prophecy, you'll understand why people debate and want to win an argument all the time because that's how they feed on energy. So, like me, I realized I was getting an energy boost when I would debate and I felt like I won or like I gained some type of I don't know. But now I realize I don't have to do that. Like so, it's just everybody has to go on that stage to where they got to start evolving and growing. But is that gonna happen? That's why God be destroying it, but He won't destroy it. I know God won't destroy this earth if I'm on it. Like why would you got? And I'm doing my job. Like so, I'm pretty sure like Enoch, he gonna take me away before he destroy this bitch. Like so, if for y'all, I ain't saying y'all need to follow me, but y'all need to get on y'all shit and know who y'all is and like yeah, become your highest self. Word, I felt the same way. You know, the Bible says, "Test His word." Exactly. I'm always testing it. Like so, I tested God on my life the other day. Like so, I'm still like waiting to see. Like, is He gonna pass the test? Like so, most people don't give God a test, and they just like I said, believe and say, "Oh, don't question Him." But no, I'm gonna test Him just like I tested any other God that I came across who said they had power. I'm like, "Oh, Zeus, you got power. Let me see if I call on your energy to see if something gonna happen." Like so, if none don't happen, I know it's just mythology. Like so, if I called on God, if God don't work in like within a time period, 7 days. He said 7 days. I said 24 hours, but he said, hey, 7 days. So I'm gonna give him his respect. We negotiate. We negotiate. We came to terms 7 days. So from 7 days from the time I said that, it's probably been like 3 days. I've seen something happen, but it's not in like it's not enough for me to talk about right now. So once again, we're gonna see if he's the real deal, and if he's the real deal, I will be calling on him more often. I would not be praying to him like y'all pray to him. I would not have the same relationship like most people got with God. Like I got my own personal relationship. Like so, the way I talk to y'all is the same way I have a conversation with him. Like so, and I demand like just like he demands. We both gods. I'm just here in the flesh right now. He's got the gift to be in the physical, but he was on this earth. He had to be on this earth one point of time to evolve to where he is now to create what he created. Like so, me having an understanding like you have to experience like everything. Like to be a god, you gotta experience being a human first. Like so, that's why he's jealous. That's why he's envious. That's why he operates the way he operates. That's why he wants people to worship him because that's how humans are. He's just a human who've evolved, but there's another level of consciousness. I don't know what it's called, but eventually I'll get there. And one day I'll be, like I said, create my own fucking planet where I got my own humans. But I don't. They're not gonna worship me. I'm gonna just create it and see what I create with my mind, my imagination. I have a crazy imagination, and I intend to utilize it not only while I'm alive, but when I'm on the other side. So you say, pray in Jesus' name, and if you believe what you pray for will come true, it already has. In every prayer word, in Jesus' name, I pray. He said, if you deny my son before man, I will deny him before heaven. Well, so like I said, you have your beliefs. I don't pray and say in Jesus' name, but I get everything I want, and like I'm not I know I can have heaven on earth just as well I can have as hell on earth. I know when I die, I'm not limited to just going to either of those two places. I can go, like I said, wherever my imagination takes me. I'm a spirit, I'm a soul, I am not my flesh. Like, so I don't sin like other people. I don't do what other people do. I'm not like mankind. Like I'm telling you. If you get to know me, just stick around for quite some time, you'll realize, like, why people follow Jesus is why people follow me. Like, cause I know the way. Like, well, I mean, not Jesus. I ain't even gonna compare. I'm trying to get to Christ consciousness. But why people? If you're a fan of Nipsey Hussle, if you see why people follow him and you watch me long enough, you see like, oh shit, damn, they on the same path. Like so, me, I have that understanding. Like so, hey, I'm just doing it in my own way. Like so, I'm doing it in like through YouTube and like through podcasting. So I'm not a rapper, not a musician. Like I'm not an entertainer. Not an actor, not a fucking scientist, astronaut, none of that. Like, I plan to be a politician in the future, but not today. So, like, until that happens, then we're doing this. But Super Saiyan, like I said, if you get everything you want after you say in Jesus' name, keep doing that. Why would you stop? Like me, when I was praying for stuff and I was saying in Jesus' name, it wasn't happening. And probably because I wasn't praying for what everybody was praying for, but I was praying to be delivered from my sins, and I would keep sinning right after I asked Jesus to forgive me for my sins. And I was very like serious, like I wanted to be delivered, but I never was. So I didn't get delivered till I realized, oh, this is a fucking test I keep failing. Like so, once I had that epiphany, like, oh, what I'm going through is not really a test from God, but like a test because I keep going through this in my past lives. So, like, people don't believe in past lives. I do. Like, I believe in aliens, UFOs, and all that shit. Like, so if you don't believe in that and you kind of close minded, like, by all means, that's on you. But like I said, I've been reincarnating a few times. I know the game, like, and it's been working for me. I don't. I tell me I don't pray, and when if I do pray, it's not a prayer like to ask for something. Like I'm telling you, it's not for guidance. I feel you. I'm 35 and I don't believe. When I grew up in the church, I just started reading 3 years ago. Shit blew my mind from crypto to sexual about that. I just had to keep it ridiculous. Yeah, but as you know, like Nostradamus predicted a lot of stuff too. But the thing is to read and get your own understanding. And that's what it's about. It's not about sitting in a church and letting somebody reading to you and say, this is what this means, like giving their own interpretation. No, you supposed to have your own interpretation. So it don't matter what book you read, but just have your own mind when you read that book. So most people don't. Hey, you're not mad late because there's some people who are 65, 70, never figured it out. So you may be older than me, but it's some people that's younger than me that been way tapped in before me. So I'm like, hey, we all get up, wake up at home. We all got our alarm clock set at a different time. Like some people want to be wake up later. Some people want to wake up early. Like so, I chose to wake up when I did. And I realized you can't wake everybody up when you wake up because, like I said, they got their own alarm clock. I'd be mad as hell. Somebody woke me up at 5:30 in the morning, like if my alarm clock was set at 8. So whoever is meant to hear this message is meant to hear this message. If not, I don't imagine you being here and listening. So unless you somebody who dislikes me, you just want to hate on me, and you just want to go back and say, hey, he said that or he did that. But hey, whatever. People can always come back and get their own interpretation of what I'm saying. So what I'm doing is for the world to see. It's not just like how the podcast is. Most people don't access the podcast because they don't know how to. And it's quite simple by just going into like, if you got an Apple phone, you have podcasts on your phone. Like, if you got Spotify, you got podcasts. If you know how to go on Google, you can listen to a podcast. So most people, for some reason, they won't go and listen to a podcast. So I have to be on YouTube, like to get a bigger, like not following, but like to get the message spread across to more people, to build my brand up more, and like to eventually like hire like more people to just take over this brand. But it has to be positive mind only people. Like it can't be somebody who thinks negative thoughts all the time. Like so it's a world full of those people. So in finding someone who's like tapped in on the right path, like that's rare, like on this planet. So I do realize when I get on live, there's people who are tapped in, and they like, as you can see, I made people moderators because and they're good people. So they're out there. You just have to be in the energy to attract them. If I was a negative individual, if my energy was fucked up, like everybody who in here would probably be like trolling me. Like it'd be a bunch of negative vibes. Like like you would feel like the energy would be off. But I could be here for hours and like it's cool. Like everybody's like having a dope conversation, this dope vibe, we chilling. Like ain't nobody mad about nothing. Like, but I also understand, like, as we grow and grow and grow and there be way more people, you gonna like start they gonna start popping up. But that comes with the territory. Like, so I understand that. I'm well prepared for what's to come in my life. Like, so thank you guys for tuning in. I ain't gonna hold y'all all night like most church people, like most pastors. They be like, "Oh, I'm almost done." Like, mm, nah, I'm gonna really let y'all go. It is almost 4 hours. Can we do? We could make it to 4 hours, but nah, we good. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace. Love you guys.